Like I say,
A series.
But I did get Shenmue 1 and 2 to come up from that.
Heck yeah. Except I've never played the Shenmue games, so.
It is. I'm looking for some semen. Yo ho ho and a bottle of.
Recommended based on games you played. Dynasty Warriors? Why is it recommending me Oh, because I played frickin' Fate. God dang it.
I was about to say, did you play like any of the recent Fate games?
Yeah. It was it's the blood one. The Musashi one.
Oh, Excella or Excella Link?
Not Samurai Remnant.
Ah.
I hate that style of game though. I want a real Fate game, damn it.
You can't handle real
Honestly doesn't know
Fate
how to make a
game.
real Fate game that
We
isn't
have
a
real
visual
Fate.
novel.
you have real Fate games.
I want a real
He's
Fate game.
got you there.
Not real.
Well, you want the rock paper scissor mechanics?
No, we're good. Okay, it is a step up from that. I don't need extra again.
He wants a battle royale Fate game.
No,
Hey, yo,
I
Fate
want
the art. Fate the art.
I want a
Let's go.
Souls-like Fate game, huh?
That'd be cool.
What's wrong with
That'd be cool.
Souls-like Fate?
He actually wants a Fortnite Fate game.
Solely as if you're a normal person fighting server.
Hey, you're talking to someone that bought Fortnite on release. That's right, bought when it cost money.
I hate all of you.
I remember when it was
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's the save the world thing with the zombies. That's advertised as a zombie survival game.
Okay, Grandpa, let's get you back in your chair.
So it tried to be Daisy.
It was. I like that mode.
Honestly, the only Fate
was fun.
games I couldn't stand with gameplay is Excella and Excella Link for some reason. Just did not like it for some reason.
You need to go play Fate Extra and choose Tamamo as your starter. You'll
Do
have
you
so
hate
much
him?
fun.
I know that's the trick. No.
That's what I did.
Really? Yeah.
Did on Fortnite at the beginning.
Mhm.
Until she hits the gritty.
But, yeah, anywho.
DJ gets it. Goal is to survive the fortnight.
Survive a Fortnite in Fortnite.
Yeah.
I've never played Fortnite and I don't think I ever will. It's
So you remain sure.
I guess.
I mean, I'm never going to play it on PC. I had it on Xbox.
Oh.
And
But
there's no
what
way
if
in
I
hell
told you Goku can hit the gritty?
I still would have to get Epic Game Store and forget that.
And they get KO'd by Miku.
Yeah,
Well,
see,
later.
that's-
では前に出ます
Sorry, I'm running a little bit behind, guys. Hope everyone's doing good today. Ugh. Okay, I just got the tweet out. Do me the favor. Go give that some love. And let me grab today's sauce. Too many floors? Yeah, I told you guys this one drags on. Okay. Arch, thank you for the resub. What the heck is a treasure train? And does it leave a treasure trail? Participants save 35% on 5 or more gift subs at level 5. Does that mean we have to get to level 5? I'm so confused. Twitch, why do you do these things? Okay. Sometimes Twitch be wild in chat. Here is today's artwork. Go give the artist some love. And why level 5, right? Like, why not just level 1? It's like, hey, we're trying to incentivize you to do things, but not until level 5. Like, okay. Cool. Thanks. Cool story, bro. Gain resistance against all attacks, excluding MPs. And increase attack for yourself after 3 turns. I tried. Didn't work. Go ahead and give her that. Well, do that. And that. And that. And that. And I'm gonna sit on the NP here. Actually, since we have the Buster cards there, let's go with that. Anyways, how has chat been? Last you guys saw me was D&D night on Sunday. I took yesterday off because I have run out of my nasal medication, and so while I'm getting sleep, it's not restful sleep. It is like, I can only describe it as, if you guys remember like waking up and being like tired, that's how I am. Also, it looks like my green screen is a little on the fritz here. Give me 1 second. Not a factor of sharpness that's causing this. Is it light? Is it too bright in here? Give me 1 second. Let me mess with the filters. There you go. I don't know why that was, but that was the thing. Cat's got them heat waves. I mean, it is the middle of summer here, so kind of just expect it at this point. Of course, 48%. Just enough. Hello, Shortcake. Hello, Digi. Hello, AFK. Hello, Zem. For those of you guys that didn't see, by the way, we did get a tag for Discord. It was a really easy thing to set up. I just hadn't managed to get around to it, and I kind of finally spent some time doing that. I'm also looking at, because I guess there's like a new feature for like roles in particular, so I'll be looking into that probably tomorrow. How's my weekend? My weekend was okay. It was pretty chill. Excuse me. I mean, we played Final Fantasy X with you guys on Saturday. I've advanced the story, so for those of you guys that were hoping to get like the 1-to-1 story, you're not going to get that. But I figure most people probably already know most of Final Fantasy story anyways. So I'm currently like right at the beginning of the Thunder Plains is how far I've advanced. I think where I left off with chat was like the Mihin High Road, I want to say. Yeah, Blitzball champ, pretty much. I can't believe you blitzballed without chat. That is true. The vast majority of what I have done has been blitzballing. Did you kill the Chocobo Eater? I did. Well, I didn't. I shoved him off the cliff. I did not kill him. I got the level, the 2 level 1 key spheres from it. Because I didn't feel like losing out on that reward, especially not early in the game. Those key spheres are kind of nice. Sleep apnea is a major pain. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's allergy medication is what my nasal medication is, so it's just one of those deals where it's like, what the heck? Okay, bro, calm down. Gonna try things this way, but this guy's basically immune to everything other than MP damage. You mean Blitzball Fantasy 10? Yes. I was talking again about how, like, I can't believe that they haven't made Blitzball an actual, like, game. Like standalone. It's such a missed opportunity in the same way that, like, actually didn't they make Triple Triad into a game? Like, into an actual, like its own card game? Because to me, they should do that if they haven't. But in the same way, they should also just make Blitzball its own spin-off game. The fact that they haven't is just like Square Enix being dumb and not realizing that, like, hey, if a mini game is popular enough, it can become a game. It can become its own thing. Crazy. So yeah, so chat, I am currently on floor 166, as you guys can see right there. I don't think I'll finish NA's tower tonight. We will do the CQ, but I'll probably just get, like advance a little bit and then kind of go do other stuff. And we'll probably focus on trying to finish it tomorrow if I can. Not enough profit? I mean, honestly, and I don't want to like say this out loud, but like you could turn Blitzball into a gacha game. I'm not even kidding you. Like, it's the exact same way that it works for, like, FIFA and stuff like that. Like, the fact that they haven't done that is like, okay. Okay. You don't have to. That's your own fault. 3 accounts, Nani? Yes. Gwent is the prime example of a great minigame becoming its own mobile game. Yeah, and I'm not going to say that, like, you should make it into a mobile game, right? You really shouldn't. But, like, I'm dead serious. If you came out with a Blitzball game and it was, like, $30 and it had, like, all of the Final Fantasy characters in it, I would buy that shit. I'd buy it. I'd play it. I'd play the fuck out of it. Doubly so if there was like an expansion on the existing system. Like, oh my god, I would play the crap out of that. Cat is the greatest Blitzball coach that I'm still asked. No, we just got to get you better at like triggering the square button. That's probably your only issue, and that's something you'll get used to the more you do it. It's just that bad. I was during the first playthrough. I lost that fight. I think the first time I played, I lost. Like, I wasn't even aware that I could win the first time I played. And then, like, as time went on, I was like, oh, wait, no, this is actually winnable. And now I win. Because even, like, again, I haven't played Final Fantasy X in 7 years. I still remember the Blitzball tactics that work. Still. I still know exactly how to kind of like cheese the AI. They made a Quidditch game, why not Blitzball? Yeah, honestly, like it's this exact same concept as Quidditch. Because like Quidditch is you fly around on a broom getting a ball through a goal and people can beat you while they do it. That's blitzball. It's just with a broom instead of being underwater. That really is the only major difference. And then I guess like the golden snitch is a thing. But otherwise, who cares? Is MP inflicted death on Kester? Yeah. I just wasn't paying attention. Hello, William. How's it going? I restarted after getting eternally stuck at Seymour at Gagazette. How, though? Like, how did you get eternally stuck? Because, like, I've never had a hard time with the Seymour fights. I think there's only one that was, like, tricky until you understood the mechanic. And... well, sorry. It wasn't even understanding the mechanic. It was just he cast Reflect on himself. And so you're sitting there and you're like, how do I do something to this? But once you figure it out, you're okay. Also, I think we got confirmation that Xbox is making a new console in a roundabout way. They tried to advertise that they're partnering with AMD for all their future stuff, which is kind of odd. That is Microsoft telling Intel to go fly a kite. And I'm surprised by that. But that being said, the only substantive thing from it is that, yes, they did confirm they are making a new console. Which is like, oh my god, I don't care. I'm gonna bet your ass though, chat. Behold, watch. As Microsoft games become exclusive to Xbox consoles and the Microsoft Store. Mark my words. They're going to try to take that shit off Steam, and it's not going to work. And if they don't, then it'll just fail at this point. If they keep doing the no exclusivity, it's all open, benefits me. Benefits every person with a PC. Xbox has never been with Intel? That's weird then. I don't know why the fuck they needed to like make said announcement. And at best, they'll have around 1,000 cent quarts on 8th anniversary. Should I roll for NP2 Summer Morgan or NP1 and go for Summer Castoria NP2? What answer do you want to hear? Because I can tell you the exact answer that immediately crosses my mind. But what answer do you want to hear? Do you want to roll for MP2 Summer Morgan? No NVIDIA console in the future, I guess. I mean, that's a good thing. Like, I think somebody else trying to enter the console market at this point is just, it's bound to lose. The only, like Microsoft entering the market was already too late, and it was a fluke that they even managed to get in, and it literally only worked because Microsoft just threw money at the issue. So it's like, if somebody else tried, it'd fail. I need to hear no sugarcoating. Go for MP2 Castoria Berserker. You're going to get more use out of that. The first Xbox was an Intel Pentium, then 360 was ATI, acquired by AMD, and AMD for the rest. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know why they bothered to make such an announcement then, unless that was like their low-key, we're announcing a new Xbox to get people like okay with the idea of it. Which, I'm gonna say this. Xbox fans are going to like that. They're going to hear new console, and they're going to be like, oh, thank God, we can get away from this shit generation that has sucked. Because, like, this generation has done nothing for us. Like I said, though, the problem is they maintain the exact same stance that they currently have, which is that things are just going to go to PC as well. Their next generation will also suck. It will forever suck. The console will literally just be a canned, pre-built computer. That's all it is. And that's exactly why it just will never be popular. The only thing that moves consoles at this point is exclusivity. It is the only reason. I do think there is the alternative reason that people will buy a console, which is that it is cheaper than a PC. But you have to understand that doesn't work for Microsoft. And the reason why? Consoles are sold at a loss so that they can make the money back on games. They would rather you go and get a full-blown like PC that you had to pay them for. But they know they can't do that, so they're going to offer you the console to keep you in the ecosystem. So, well, yeah, some people will go out and get a console because it's cheaper. They kind of just view those people as a captive audience. And the problem is they can't get anybody else to come over without the exclusivity. We'll do what the Xbox Ally is. Wait, what the fuck is the Xbox Ally? $360 wasn't a fluke. They didn't enter the market with the 360. The fluke was Xbox. The original OG Xbox was a fluke. Why? They couldn't do it again if they tried. Like, literally, you see it right now. They're trying to release a new console, and I'm going to guarantee you that new console is going to sputter if they don't change their tactic. Xbox is handheld. Okay, I've never even heard of it. But, yeah, no, like straight up, the only reason this worked is because Sega had just gotten out of the market. If Sega was still in the market for that generation, I don't think anybody buys an Xbox. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I think you have a three-way war between the PlayStation, I guess it would have been the PlayStation 2, it would have been the GameCube, and and whatever Sega console you had at that point. You did have the Dreamcast, but literally with the Dreamcast, they got out. And I think Microsoft trying to enter a market already flooded by three competitors, I think Xbox becomes the also-ran. And I think people just go like, why would I purchase that and be a Microsoft person if not for these? I think Sega leaving whittled it down to just Nintendo and just Sony. And I think Microsoft coming in was a welcome third party at that point. Trying to have people buy subscription to Game Pass will never really work how they want. Yeah, I completely agree. I understand what they're thinking with that, but I just, it's not going to work. And no matter what they try, it's not going to work. Because like I've said before, the issue with Game Pass is Game Pass, they have to give the developers money, right? So they keep saying, hey, developers, bring your game to Game Pass so that like we'll pay you basically to help with the development of it, right? And in that process, they kind of have this mutual like what's the word I'm looking for? Mutual dependency. Basically, the developer relies on Microsoft to put their game in Game Pass and have it perform well and to market it and to like really sell it. And the developer is depending on the money from Game Pass to do that. So it just kind of works hand in hand. The problem with this is several games have just kind of gone to Game Pass and failed. several devs have decided not to exclusively put their games on Game Pass anymore. Several devs have chosen to not put their game on Game Pass at all because they don't want their game going for so cheap and practically being given away. And this has resulted in a weird sort of situation where, in order for this ecosystem to sustain, Microsoft has to keep growing the number of subscribers that they have. That does kind of happen due to natural population growth, but they're not getting it at the rate they need it to grow, and that actually is causing them problems. And we know this. That's why there's Game Pass Premium now. That's why there's all this other extra bells and whistles. And it's kind of caused them some issues. So they are trying to like reevaluate and change tactics to get this to work more properly. And like I said, I'm not going to be surprised if $80 games are the idea that they're going to kind of use to try to push people towards Game Pass. They filled the void that the third spot left. Yes, at least some, right? SteamOS is also biting into Windows share and is showing better performance without Windows bloat. I'm gonna be real with you, until I hear anybody talk about SteamOS like in any like sphere that is not a gamer sphere, I think that's kind of a non-starter. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like they can do what they want, but I don't think it's actually going to be a thing until they can like actually capture things outside of gaming. And I'm not saying that to like promote like Microsoft or anything like that, or like shit on Steam. I'm just saying actual like top-down analysis, I don't see that being successful unless. That being said, Steam usually will at least continue to support their projects. That is something they're kind of infamous for at this point. So if they continue to do that, why not? Let's see what the future holds. Receiving all the sunlight ever possible. I have no idea why I'm so bright today. I have no idea. Like, it's just, it is bright. Like, it's not dark outside yet. I have both my lights on me. I'm wearing my white shirt. So I'm sorry, chat. Here, let me turn the brightness down so that I am not flashbanging y'all. Yeah, I'll saturate myself a little bit more. And there you go. That better? That better, chat? It's okay, your radiance. Thank you. Cat has become grand streamer. Yes. Go over to JP here real fast. Considering it's starting to get prepackaged in other PC handhelds, I wouldn't be surprised if it grows more popular. No. No. Talk to me when it starts getting prepackaged into PCs. Not handhelds. Handhelds are almost exclusively going to be for gaming, chat. Like, again, don't get me wrong, I just think y'all are overestimating it at the moment. This is something that's still in its, like, fledgling status. Gondor calls for aim. No more Holy Can. Listen, I don't think I need to be burning a hole in your retinas, chat. I'm sorry. It's just probably a good idea, right? But yeah, no, we did get our tag on Discord, so feel free to apply that to yourselves. Okay. About 2 to 3 weeks till NA Annie, and then 6 to 7 for JP. Yep. 2 to 3 weeks till I get to go on vacation. Speaking of which, chat, I've been in talks. I should have some upcoming collabs with people. So I'm excited for that. Hope you guys are as well. I got Game Pass free with my ally and never activated it. Knew I would never pay for it, so I just ignored it. Yeah, I especially let my example tell you why you probably shouldn't bother with the free version of Game Pass, like even a free trial. They straight up will just charge you afterwards. They will not warn you. They will not let you know that it's going to charge you. They will just do it. So, unless you just immediately cancel it right after you sign up for the free trial, you're going to end up paying for it unless you're just super diligent. That's every trial though. Yeah, I know. That's the problem with it. Although some of them will actually sit there and remind you or warn you. Or they'll just end the free trial afterwards. But clearly Microsoft, in an effort to get as much money as possible, despite being one of the world's richest corporations, chooses to be scummy with that. That practice needs to be made illegal? Yeah, I completely agree. PS Plus actually lets me know a month in advance, hey, we are renewing on this day. Yeah. Who are those some? Is chat asking for actual examples? Because I'm not going to waste the time to give you them, but chat, listen, they do exist. If you haven't heard of them, if you haven't encountered them, not my issue. Must be the posted note, yep. Tell my Oshi how much I admire her gamer skills. Wait, I'm confused. Why am I Pekora? For the people you're collabing with, can we get some hints? One of them I've collabed with before. That's the only hint you're getting. Was it won't let you cancel until the last day and automatically renew? Yeah, that's just scum. I'm sorry. F that. Because I'm trying to repair my car? That's fine. Still got time, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you should stop slacking, because you can only complete the tower event so fast. And then people will be like, oh, I completed it in one day, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, you did. You're not most people. I bet it's a Mr. 2 collab. I will reiterate again that I would love to talk with any person from Aniplex. Aniplex of America, or anybody on the JP side as well, if I could somehow find a way to make it work. But no, I will not bite. I just legitimately have interest. I would love to pick their brain about stuff. Fate or gaming related? For what? Sorry. Collab? Fate. I'm in Babylon, so no tower for me. I mean, it's fine. We'll see if I started answering questions like that, okay, you could whittle it down. So you'll just have to guess. It's cool, no spoilers, please. That's fine. You guys will eventually find out. Are you gonna try the date everything game? What is that? I have not heard of that. Oh, you could very easily math out the answer. It's not like FGO has a ton of content creators anymore. Yeah, my JP event here is almost done. We've already done the CQ for it, and it's literally just me kind of roaming through here, just trying to do the 90++ as efficiently as possible. We've had a limited time mission to add friends, but haven't received an expansion to our friend slots. I was gonna say, we've definitely had this before. But without an expansion, I don't know. I definitely don't keep track of anything like that. It's a game where you can literally date anything. Your hamper, dirty laundry, mousetrap, crawl space. How are you supposed to date something that's inanimate, though? Like, how do you riz that up? Because I feel like at that point, a one-sided conversation. It is a give relationship. There is no take. They turn human, apparently. Do you know what they turn into? Is there any preview? Or are you just like, oops, tee-hee, suddenly, you know, like, I'm dating something I'm not attracted to? Yeah. Would you like to hold my dirty socks? I mean, I think you'd be dating your dirty socks. You get a preview, and then you can decide to date them or not. I, like... With Asian Bunny X? I assume you misspelled that, but no. I don't even know who that is. Probably a porn star. Love Max Charge on Bar Break? I'm so confused. Is this now an FGO dating game? Oh, there we go. That's the last of that. Oh, we are almost done with gold. We are done with silver. And I have, you know, probably a couple more runs still. Because I have to get enough for that, and I guess technically that. There's gems in this one, which is somewhat rare. I think the bigger attraction here is going to be these statues. Which, like, we're literally going to get some of these from the, like... I don't care about statues anymore. We are going to get the grand system for every single one of these. And I will just have a permanent farm. So I don't care. Have I finished the point ladder? Oh no, I guess not. Totally forgot the point ladder was the thing. It just has not like come up. So I guess I'm not as close as I thought. Whee! There we go. 27 more of those. Just give me 35 evil bones. You can tell I haven't touched my mailbox in a hot second on JP. Because I'm just sitting here kind of full. Sorry, that was meant for a different chat. I see how it is. Gyms kind of accumulate naturally in lottos. Yeah, I like gyms are really bad for new accounts. They're honest to God, they're worse than statues and monuments. Until you go through a lotto, and even then, depending on how much you do in the lotto and depending on how many units you have, they are just a little bit dicey until you kind of get ahead of them. What the developer should do at bare minimum for such an occasion? No. I already have my my annual here's what FGO needs to do. So that's just like anticipating any 10 on JP. And the whole reason I don't want to guess is because while I have a couple of ideas of things that they probably like 90% odds that they will do, there is plenty more that is just completely up in the air. And on one end, I feel like it would be fun to predict that, but on the other end, I feel like I would just be giving people unrealistic expectations and setting the bar high. And I don't want people to come away from 10th Annie like bitching and moaning that we didn't get like everything under the sun. Like I said, you should expect something big because it's 10th Annie. But I've told you guys not to expect anything specific, because the second you start getting your mind set on like, oh man, what if we get, say, pity or something like that, like some change to the pity system. If I say that, people will start expecting that, and people will start thinking that's what we're going to get. And then it will start becoming a like, oh, if we don't get this, I'm going to be upset. And then we won't get it. And then people will be like, what the fuck? Why didn't they do that? Or I could just literally tell you guys not to expect anything like that. And it just is what it is. Then he needs to be big. It does. I agree with that. Unless you farm, then in the training ground specifically, but that makes a boring farm and tedious too. I mean, you're literally getting them from tickets. Like every single month, you're gonna get kind of the tickets how I've been getting them, and then you're going to get the grand system node that you can farm for that month until it expires, and then that will take storm pods. So you can still farm it, but it will just be a limited farm. I mean, it is what it is. What do you think it'll get early? I hope we get a couple things early, but I don't think we get anything early. Basically what I'm trying to say is I don't expect it. I think the only thing that I do expect and will be upset, like I said before, if we don't get, is going to be the website for purchasing quartz and binding your account. And that is because if they are stupid enough not to give that to us on NA, they deserve to be reamed out. Because it is literally a mechanism that appeases their player base and safeguards them, saves their player base money, and makes them more money. So if they don't bring that to an A, it's almost like a vote of no confidence. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? You're literally just shooting yourself in the foot right now. You're costing yourself money, right? Who, thank you for the 33. Welcome back. See, chat, like, I'm just yawning all the time now. On an A, we need a way to farm them anyways. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like, you straight up, you get given so many from the tutorials early on that gyms are far and away the bigger concern, especially early. And you guys are seeing that live on the other account when I play it. The double GSSR early? They've already done that. If you're referring to the Destiny summon. We get the website so we can save the account. Yeah, to me, that is probably the most, worrisome things that we've gone on this long. I still live in fear of dropping my phone every day. I live in fear of that, and that should not be a thing. I mean, in general, you don't want to drop your phone, right, chat? But, I have extra shit riding on this. It's not just my means of communication with other people. It is also a body of work of, going on 8 years. So if I drop that phone and brick this account somehow, brick both my accounts somehow, I would just, I think I'd quit, honestly. I love this game, but, that kind of loss would not make me want to play this game more. Who are the predetermined GSSRs? I don't remember. That may have been a thing. You don't have your files backed up for FGO? How would I? I play on iPhone. You don't trust the transfer code? Yeah, I mean, I don't. Don't get me wrong. Would there be ways that I could potentially recover it? Yes. I don't want to leave that sort of thing to chance. Transfer codes are infamously, volatile. So to me, it's a problem. Okay, chat. We have the NACQ, and I have no idea what is in it. I should. Ugh. This Crane, Galatea, and Babylon Sith. Oh, right, the creation buffs. Yeah, I remember talking about this for the guide. Entire front line with 200% attack down. Ugh. This one's best done with single target. And it looks like you have a couple of issues. God, I'm trying to click as if it's the emulator account. And it looks like there's a couple of like issues with this. Obviously, we take the Bond C and stuff. It's nice for the debuff immunity, but not so much for anything else. Actually, hold on. Ugh. Do one of those. I actually think this is a good job for Draco because basically I'm going to need somebody that hits hard. And if you break Galatea's bar, she's going to steal all of your offensive buffs. So the idea behind this would be to try to kind of get her done with minimal stuff and then kind of send things. Actually, okay, so this is attack up. NP gain by 20%, arts card effectiveness by 5%, and ignore invincible. That is not a bad effect. So firepower there should not be an issue. The real problem is going to be getting things to actually go my way here. Um... Let's do one of these. Form basically a pseudo invincible comp. It will not be as good, is going to be the issue. What I may do is I may get rid of the actual support. I'll leave the back line is what it is. We'll go ahead. Anyone else hear static when I talk? Oh, you might be hearing my fan in the background. It may be bleeding in. Is it the fan? Yeah. Yeah, it's not high enough for the noise gate, but once the gate is opened, you can hear it. Sorry, it's just hot in the house, is why. Alright, so everybody got the def down. Gonna rotate her in. MP gauge per turn. Critical strength would be considered an offensive buff. But I'd rather have that. Man. Problem is I'm not gonna have the charge here. Let's risk it for right this second. And let's see if we can get away with things here. NP seal, are you freaking kidding me, man? I don't think that'll count for the purposes of this. It does not. This removes offensive debuffs, but that is just not considered an offensive debuff. It is just a hard seal. How long does that have? Just one turn. Yeah, that is just kind of spicy. Not a whole lot that can be done. Okay. And honest to God, I think I'ma just send this. We're gonna basically invincible comp our way through this. Galatae will steal some of it. I'm not super worried. I'm more worried about the fact that I don't have the charge per turn. Wait, that barb. Oh god, there was a taunt. I did not pay attention. Crane games, yep. Yeah, that's unfortunately bad luck. Okay. Because after Castoria, can't do anything to that. Does get a curse there, but... What are we dealing with here? Triggers each turn. This might be a scuff, chat. Because I just didn't get it properly. I should have gotten it where I had enough charge in on turn 1. I should have rotated Lady Avalon out instead. Because this has just resulted in a bad setup here right at the get-go. Basically, I can't apply the pressure, and I broke the wrong target. And now I'm at the, like... I'm at the behest of the fight, if that makes any sense. And a little bit, I would prefer to be dictating control to the fight rather than the other way around. I'll actually take Shadow here, because the 2030 there. You're no longer controlling the flow. Yeah, a strategy there was not really wrong. I just made a tactical blunder right at the beginning. Shadow, thank you for the 69. Indeed, the magic number. We get some love for Shadow, chat. You probably brute force it. I could. I just didn't care to. Yep. Plus, I think I'm playing a little bit too cautiously. Just gonna send it. Hopefully she eats Galatea here. I don't have any arts buffs on her. But again, she should have extra damage due to my craft essence. There you go. Wait, she just stole it. She didn't even remove it. Huh. Interesting issue there. Gonna let Draco do work, but the problem here is going to be that I'm very likely to get taunted now. Burn's gonna do some solid work for us, but I'm really happy to think about this one. I think this is not ideal, because I'd have to look up what this break bar effect was. But it definitely was having me do very little damage. Huh? Apparently not. It must have been the stuff that that Crane was casting. Yep. Going to heal Castoria over here. That curse did a number on her, plus the additional hits. Everybody's still protected for right now. I can try to fast track Baobon. Let's see what her second break bar is. The full charge of her NP gauge and debuff immunity. And I don't care. Again, you kind of want to push this because the less enemies that are on the field, the better. The better your odds are, the less the creation buff is going to give benefit to people. So you're kind of just trying to brute force your way through it if possible. Draco easily looping back. Okay. She's going to use her NP. That's also going to eat one of her actions, so not bad in that regard, especially since I'm protected here. I actually guarded the curse, which isn't bad either. Charge per turn and NP damage up on Miss Crane. Oh no, what will I do? Yeah, I think this is Ascendant, unless Miss Crane somehow has a different NP. It's the only thing in the back of my mind is like, does Miss Crane actually have an offensive NP? Why would they give her NP damage up? And it may just be the creation buff landed on her instead of other people, but... Good work there from the arts card. What can the extra card do? Not quite enough to break, but... Definitely not bad. Especially since that was kind of the last turn with anything there. You kind of keep sending it for damage purposes. Not really worth using an NP here. I believe she gets 80% NP damage up. But let's see. Yes, she does. And triple guts. Yuck. Yeah, again, just simply changing that like kind of part there in the beginning has resulted in this going way smoother. That's bait. Don't ever press that if you don't have the other two off cooldown for Draco. And let's see here. I think we'll do right Castoria. Right Castoria into the card chain here. We're just kind of focused on getting some buffs up. The arts card buff should be back here in like 2 more turns. We're just kind of keeping people protected, and it's sort of a use it or lose it scenario for right Castoria there. Again, Draco's still just critting her down very well. So that's actually going a little bit further than the NP damage up will. Now, that's a little annoying. Defense up for 3 turns on top of the guts as well. We have no idea how much the guts revive is. Gonna go ahead, pop everything there. That's gonna give Miss Crane an NP again. And you know what? Due to the fact that I have everything and I have a full Brave Chain and I'm kind of coming back to stuff, I'm actually just going to go ahead and send the NP. We're basically using this just for additional carding power. Even if the NP doesn't do a whole lot of damage, I'm not super concerned about it. This is more designed to just kind of like break Miss Crane more than anything. And actually, with the sheer amount of damage up this character has, I'm doing some solid output here. I could have gone back and scuffed it and put the Buster card first, and I may have gotten an extra guts. but it's not gonna be too big of a deal. Maybe just take me one more turn now with this. Unfortunately, no Draco card here. That is definitely a bummer. We are literally just going to go ahead and use the Castoria NP then. And I'm actually going to take that quick card there. I could take another arts card to go with the kind of triple arts chain, but getting the extra quick card here just gives me a little bit more stars on the next turn for where I'm probably very likely to get some Draco cards. Well, admittedly, it is turn 9. I have not been paying attention to the turn timer. So, it's also possible I get none. Okay, get another bar break there. Actually, that crit didn't do too bad. And now we can kind of just pre-card and send the NP. Draco's cards here should easily take out this first Guts, and then she comes back, and I didn't know how much the last Guts would be for. I assume the same, but you never know. They might throw a sneaky one, like a full revive or something in there. And there you go. Easy kill. So, not a min turn, but just very safe, very effective. If you don't have something like the 5-star CE to equip on, I completely understand. Not everyone's going to have rolled for Medusa Saber. You can still do quite a bit here with Draco. You can still do quite a bit with anybody else that you feel like would be effective. You try to run things like the Invincible comp, but stalling is going to get you into a little bit of trouble. They're giving those creation buffs more time to work. And remember, the creation buffs themselves, not only are they applied every turn, basically, they also stack in their effect for how many people are in the party at the time. So you want to get rid of somebody really fast. That's the key here. That's why you saw me go after Galatea. So if you can get her down, you're already down to just 2 enemies, and then you can kind of pick and choose. Crane, no real threat there. Babylon Sith was the only actual threat. You could have gone for Crane first, but remember, she gets that 80% NP damage up to the rest of the party. Or NP damage resistance to the rest of the party. Not something I would really want to tangle with long-term on multiple people. So usually in this scenario, I would leave Crane for last because she's basically just a wet noodle. If it takes you longer to kill her, who cares? But again, yeah, it was not too bad of one. It's just, like I said, I made that mistake right there at the beginning. But after that, pretty easy. And nothing too much to write home about on that one. Honestly, an interesting mechanic nonetheless with the creation stuff, but nothing too difficult to grasp. So. Have I put the Roma CC on Draco yet? No, I'm lazy. I legitimately haven't. You can go do that right now if you want. Is it filtered to sabers? No? It's just because Draco's 90 like the rest of these people. So she's going to be like the very last level 90, yeah. It looked like MASH was the one right before her. Roma. Yeah, I'll put it on a Buster card. There you go, chat. Does that make you happier? I could put other stuff on her. Just don't. I don't apply command codes until the situation requires it. And you might be thinking like, oh, it never requires it. I'm like, no, there's definitely some pesky effects that you can completely invalidate with command codes. And that's where I'll start like applying them and putting them on. That was not difficult at all. I didn't really need to do it. Like I said, the only issue there was that I just didn't have enough charge there in the beginning to get Draco going. If I had had it, I would have been fine, and it would have just kind of like invalidated the entire thing. Still want to watch Tenchi Muyo, chat? I just finished Tower Event, had to treat the final floor like a mini CQ. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes that stuff happens. It's the other reason why if you just pace yourself with this event, it's not very difficult. But if you leave everything to the last second, if you try to bum rush it, it actually gets harder because you have to micromanage who you're bringing to what node. And then it's not as easy when stuff like that happens. You don't have the easy solution to things. Oh no, what will I do? Warning. Someone make him watch El Hazard. I don't know anyone that's watched it. At least not that I know of. Like, this is a topic that has never come up. Sorry, chat. I was looking at something there. Oh, crap. I forgot. What? So, one thing after another. First, I saw that apparently Iran issued some proclamation that, like, they're going to do something tonight that the world's not going to forget for centuries to come. Then I saw people saying that's not true. Like Iran didn't even make such a statement. Then I remembered, hey, chat, I got accepted on Twitch for their beta service to be able to start streaming in 2K resolution. So that's a thing. I don't know if it's like automatically applied though. Oh, I might have to update my OBS. And then on top of that, apparently I've also been accepted some new YouTube beta feature for something with like communities or something. I haven't looked at it. Which is what I was noticing because I was going to go get the like announcement for you guys. Yeah, I think I have to update my OBS. That may get saved until my vacation then, chat, because let me tell you, as a streamer, don't update anything if you don't have the time to fix it. Don't update anything until you have the time to fix it. Because when you update, it will break. And when it breaks, you will sit there having to troubleshoot it. And I have learned OBS is definitely one of those things. Don't update it until you're ready to fix it. I like it. It's fun. One of the L hazard continuities, at least. It tricks you into wasting a team. Was floor 50? Oh, yeah, I mean, floor 50 was floor 50. I'm over it. We're basically on floor 170. I think I can let it go 120 floors later. But yeah, no, so chat, soon you'll be able to enjoy me in a higher graphical fidelity. That might help because my camera freaking sucks, and it may be the impetus to finally get me to get a new camera. It has been definitely something I've been thinking about for a hot second here. That's not what I wanted, but sure. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. I'm gonna just send this. I'm gonna not care. Get some additional effects here. You know what? Just to make this even stonker. Let's do that. There we go. Hello, Aniko. But yeah, I'm excited at least for 2K streaming. I have no idea what the YouTube thing is that I got accepted for. Let's see, new communities feature. Communities are only available on the YouTube mobile app? Why? Apparently it's like a centralized hub where like people can discuss your videos and it's not on any video. But it's only mobile? God, YouTube does stuff like that sometimes and I'm just not sure why they do. Sounds like a limited discount Discord. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And at this point, every competitor should be trying to replace Discord, because I guarantee you, as Discord goes into mobile or monetization and they start trying to go public, they are going to enshitify the product more than they already have. As that happens, there is just like no chance in hell that competitors don't sprout up. So if I were YouTube, or rather Google, right? If I were Google, if I were Amazon, if I were any of these services, I would be trying to start the next one. Did you see Nexus Mods is sold? I was. Obviously, there's a lot of doom and gloom on it. I'm going to choose to remain cautiously optimistic at this point in time, but do I think, like, long-term that Nexus Mods has a chance? I think Nexus Mods is dead. Especially given who they sold it to. If they had transferred, like, the running of things to primarily, like, Nexus people, and it hadn't really been sold, I'd be okay with that, because that is the way they're making it trying to sound, is that, oh, we're keeping the Nexus people on, just the main guys retiring, and they're gonna run it now, and we're just the money behind them. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great and all, but you also said, like, you made no promises about, like, how you're gonna monetize things in the future, and I'm just like, that's where I don't trust you. If it was just like, hey, they're providing the backup to like support to the Nexus staff, I'd be like, yeah, that's fine. I don't see a problem with that. But given the fact that it's a company that buys up like gaming like IPs and stuff like that to monetize them, I have no faith, none whatsoever, that this goes well. Suffer indeed. That is all chat knows. Suffering. Why are we here if not just to suffer? FGO Annie 10, let's go. Yeah, eventually. It's going pretty good, Cal. How are you? Let's do that. Let's do that. I gotta finish off some of these appends. That's what this is making me realize. Do it like that. Hopefully we kill anything that remains. Give Mordred, Salter, and Jalter triple Buster deck lasagna. You know, it's really funny, because I've started to see a lot of people shit on the triple arts deck, and it makes me laugh so much. Like, I saw some of the other day, it's like, oh, this is a Buster NP with a triple arts deck. And like, why do people do, like dumb shit like this? And I'm like, are you stupid? Like, don't get me wrong, Triple Buster's great and all for, like, just raw carding power. But Triple Arts is going to help me manually get back to another NP. And people are like, oh, well, I don't have to manually get back to another NP. And I'm like, there will be times. A la here. Like, it's going to be a thing. Abby needs those arts cards? Yeah, Abby's NP game's fucking atrocious. She absolutely does. But usually having even just like 2 Buster cards is enough. Having a balanced deck, I feel like, is really just the like prime thing. I think, unfortunately, for better or worse, quick cards are usually the ones that I want less. Like, I'd rather have like 2 Buster cards and 2 arts cards and 1 quick card than, say, like 2 quick, 1 arts, double Buster or something like that. Some people like this because, like, they'll go like, okay, it's extra star gen, or maybe it's like, I guess maybe in their eyes it's like better chance at a mighty chain, but I don't know. I don't really think so. Including this guy called Kadroth doing an FGO quiz. Yeah, how'd you like it? Triple Arts deck is super powerful, but I think Triple Buster right now is pretty equal due to Kainskaya. This is an interesting thing. Is Triple Buster equal due to Kainskaya when everybody keeps arguing that you should be running like multiple damage dealer setups and not using Kainskaya? Because, like, I'm not gonna lie, your point is valid. But then I also see people arguing the reverse all the time and trying to say, like, oh, like, you should always be running multiple damage dealers. And I'm like, it can't be both ways. like, don't get me wrong, you can certainly use Kainskaya in a multiple damage dealer setup, but most of the people that I understand, it's like they're not going to. Oh, who here is going to have a problem? It's gonna be you, Arthur. I think the worst setup right now is double quick, double arts. Double quick, double arts works perfectly fine, assuming that there's like Buster cards somewhere in the comp to form Mighty Chain. I think that's where a lot of this emphasis on like which card type is best comes from, is the idea that like Mighty Chain is so prevalent that you want to be Mighty Chaining all the time. Don't get me wrong, definitely a thing. There's also just times you can't Mighty Chain. Why? You didn't get the right cards, or you are strongly being pushed against Mighty Chaining due to the circumstances at hand. So to me, it's important to be able to understand how to card normal and then how to also do Mighty Chain. Like, what are the best Mighty Chains? How do you do them? Simultaneously, how do you card using the old system? Because unfortunately, a lot of people, I think, forget the old system and they don't understand that. There we go. I'll use Mighty Chain here. Arts BBBQ is my favorite deck unless we were dealing with really lopsided stats and heavy buster buffs. Yeah, I do agree with that. But I think it's like, at this point, we can make anything work, and it really just comes down to the player. There's definite times where your composition will be lopsided. Like, for instance, this one is a weird balance because we have a double arts, double quick unit right here. Here we have a double buster, double arts unit. And here we have double buster, double arts unit. So this composition is actually somewhat balanced because you can see here, you're still getting the quick cards and it's working for better or worse. But it just kind of is one of those deals where, yeah, could this have gone more efficiently? Could this have gone faster? Like, I ended up not even using either right or NP because I just could not get one of them to actually get attacked and get to their NP. It's all about card counting, not kidding. A well-placed quick chain means a devastating next turn. It does. But, like, I'm gonna be real with you. Most of the time, I don't even bother with something like that. If I have a good turn now and a, like, medium turn later is better to me than a shit turn now and a good turn later, right? So I will just straight up take both good turns if I can. And what I will do, where I'll do that like triple quick chain or something, is like when the hand at play is not good, no matter what I would do, and I just need to play for the future, I'm gonna do that. It's like, who cares what the next turn is, because the current hand is crap, so I'm just going to make the best that I can of the next turn at that point. I generally try to use Mighty Chain since the quick bonus made such a big difference. It does. And that's like, to me, one of the biggest effects of Mighty Chaining in general just is, at this point, is that, like, it's really upped the value of a quick card, whereas before, I think a lot of people were just ignoring it. But, like, to me, outside of the Mighty Chain, the quick card is still kind of crap. It still has, like, unless you're running Scotty, it still just really does not have a lot of value because it's like, okay, it's star generating. Cool. So many of the compositions that I run have stars on demand. And it just ends up not really being a big deal because of that. What the heck did I bring myself into? Yeah. Wait, hold on. Did I make her caster class, or is it just she's immune to caster class attributes? Okay. I was like, I have to be sure here. Insufficient stars. I could use my star bomb here to activate it. Why not? Give me the crit damage. You fear the Georgios? Only a little. I more fear an instant charge on a bar break. Uh, 10th anniversary or summer new quick support. I think, for better or worse, that the developers perceive, and don't get me wrong, I think they also at the same time, how do I say this? I think there are people out there that think that Quick is perfectly fine, and there's no issues with it, and that if anything, Quick is the most strong card type. I see the value in that opinion, but I disagree with it. I think the devs, and largely where I think that opinion comes from is I think it comes from a challenge environment where solos and mighty chaining is very, very prevalent, and Quick is one of the best like min turning types of cards and units. I think a lot of that as well is based in the fact that Quick has become a modular type system where essentially it is not going to be an immediate go-to like guaranteeable type of thing, but it is a like, hey, when this works, it works really well, and it's usually going to be with certain specific units. I think that was the devs' approach for a while. I think their hope was that in doing that it fixed Quick in the eyes of the player base. And I think that has completely, utterly fucking failed. I think instead, the player base has chosen to view those handful of units as really good units that are good in spite of Quick, instead of Quick is actually really good. And this has come up numerous times in conversation, and it kind of always gets proven true in the end. That the general consensus of the community is that when you strip away the Mighty Chain bonus, when you strip away, like, basically some sort of, like, awkward, like, solo environment or scenario in which this could be conceivably really strong, you realize Quick does not stack up against the others as well. It just has problems. And I think that is, in layman's terms, what the community feels. Because the community isn't out there doing min turns. The community is not out there, like, being kind of, like, super, like min-maxing on things. The community is usually just your casual, lazy type of person. They are just going to go with whatever they think is OP at the time. And while they can definitely go, like, watch a video of somebody doing something crazy, they are definitely going to themselves, like, I'm sure some people have already tried this, where, like, they've seen someone pull off something pretty insane in a video, they've tried to do it, and then they realize, like, oh, I can't do it for various reasons. Either I'm not a, technical enough player, I'm not a person that has, like, a unit leveled up that high or that invested in, or I just, maybe am lacking some of the things that other player had, like maybe craft essences, command codes, you name it, right? So I think for various reasons that stuff happens, and then the community instead gets the complete polar opposite opinion of Quick than maybe what other people would have them think, which is that Quick is actually trash. And I don't think Quick is trash, but this is definitely sentiment that I see that kind of goes around over and over again throughout the years. And I think while Quick has some really, really strong units, Quick is not the most broken card type. And while Quick can be completely underwhelming, Quick is not also garbage. It is, the truth is in between the two extremes, because those are two extremes, whether or not people realize it. It's Quick is not stupidly OP, and also Quick is not stupidly bad. Quick is right here in the middle, and it just is, like, kind of inconclusive as to what it's supposed to do. Some people would argue it's like, yeah, that is its actual purpose, is like soloing and min turning and like doing stuff like that. My argument is that literally by definition can't be its purpose, because that's not an intended game design. That's people applying extra challenge on top of themselves. I feel like what they want Quick to do is they want Quick to be a challenge-esque hybrid and like crit-oriented type of card. But I also feel like it's somewhat meandering and they're not sure, and it's different for every unit that is involved in the Quick system. So it just messes with things. So long story short, pulling all of this together, I think the devs for a long time have been doing that approach. But I think whether or not we will see it now or maybe later, I assume the devs have probably picked up on the fact that it's not working. That unless they actually go back and they buff every fucking Quick unit under the sun, people's opinion of Quick will not change. And then the issue at play is going to be what then happens if you give Quick some additional benefit, some additional type of support, some additional unit over time that scales the card type better. How broken does that make the already really good units? But also, what is that going to do to the back end? And is that going to pick them up into relevancy? And I think therein lies the problem. And I think the devs are kind of just up shit's creek a little bit. So I think they may change tactics here, and we may see different design strategy moving forward. But yeah, I mean, you've got a unit like what's her face, Berserker, that just released, chat, like Lilith that just released, and she is certainly really, really strong, really, really powerful. So much so that we can make an argument that she's like the strongest Quick unit that has been released. And I think like there's definitely like points in that argument, because you can say like, oh well, so and so like Lohi's like AoE and kind of supportive, right? So like there's definitely different like styles and sides to saying who is strongest. But when you look at something like that, you realize it's like, yeah, that unit's really strong, but not every Quick unit's going to be that strong, and none of them, like most of them in the past are just not even going to approach that kind of power level. So I think it's more the exception, not the rule at this point. And until it starts becoming the rule and not the exception, I think you're just going to naturally have issues. I think this is just going to be a problem that the card type overall has. I've seen in Discords many people say that, yeah, that unit's good, but it's Quick, so it's not. Yeah, and see, that stance is usually really stupid. Those people are wrong. Because it's somehow applying that, like, okay, chat, MHXA has no charge. MHXA is Quick. MHXA has no survivability. Is MHXA a bad unit? This is an earnest question. She's a great bellwether. No, because that isn't the only factors, right? And that's kind of the problem. People can cherry pick things and they can use it to say, like, this unit's really bad, this unit's really good. A lot of the time, let me boil this down to you. The Quick is bad crowd, chat, is this. That's really what it is. And then if you ask them, why don't they have Scotty? It's, well, I don't want to roll Scotty because Quick is bad. It's circular logic. Quick is bad because you don't have the support to make it good. But you don't want to get the support to make it good because it's bad. And then you're sitting there and you're like, well, all right then. Self-fulfilling prophecy, yes. That's like you just can't do anything with that. There's nothing that you can do on your end to make that better. with that. I really want one with split charge. Yeah. And to be fair, let me be clear here, chat. If they were to give Quick a support that had split charge, it might still not resolve every issue that the Quick system has. It just is what it is. Because, while I'm not going to agree that Quick is quote-unquote bad, I could absolutely agree with a more even-tempered approach, which is that Quick has issues. Quick is kind of behind the other card types. And Quick kind of really could use more options. I think those stances I agree with. I think the stance that, like, oh, it's bad, it's not worth investing in, it's unusable, like, those are just extreme positions. No, I'll just roll a good support for Buster because Buster's good. Yeah. Zergalot is a quick AoE that needs his skills to be upgraded to farm better. Yeah, Zergalot could use a little bit of something at this point. He's still really, really strong, but if you get him outside of that loop, he is not in a good position. He's definitely, I'd say, like, rough at that point. Because trying to recover him from a failed loop is just terrible. It is abysmal. Tower Event had me leaning heavily on my Quick roster. Yeah, and what you will see is that Quick units are better when you end up in a scenario where they're going to have to card, where you're not just NPing. Like, that is where Quick just is really adaptable. It's down, it's dirty, it just kind of like gets going and manages to do a whole lot of heavy lifting. Okay, now chat, unfortunately, I have to ask my wife to go away. I have to ask her nice, because I didn't realize she was going to be here. I also have to ask her for a foot pick, apparently. Okay, good. She did leave. AKA MPing her? No. No, I asked her to leave. Unfortunately, Janu still here. Janu is kind of stubborn. I guess Janu doesn't like feet picks, chat. With a polite NP? No, there's no such thing as a polite NP. Unless it's like non-offensive. Tyra hits like a freight train. It's really funny because Tyra's the reason that that Jalter kind of gets like the 50% charge, but then you find out that that's not entirely true. And that there was another unit waiting, and that's why she got the 50% charge. But I also think in general, like I've seen people like argue that Tyra needs something at this point, and I don't entirely disagree, because Tyra's in a little bit of a weird spot where her damage potential is one of the highest in the entire game. But that potential is so damn rare and like non-existent most of the time that it kind of struggles to actually be relevant. Yeah, give me the quick card. It's her big sis complex, Gad. Yes. Quick is good for carding after the NP. However, I feel like it's so much more likely to need to card after the NP than Buster. I think a statement like that basically just depends entirely on the situation. Because like some of that you could attribute to just node difficulty in design. Part of that you could also just attribute to whalishness. Like, so it really just depends. I do agree. I've seen people make this argument that like, oh, one of the reasons Quick is so OP is because a Quick NP into Arts and Buster is so much of a better chain for Mighty, and I'm just like, I don't really agree with that. I get it, but you also have to consider that a Buster NP into a Quick and Arts chain is going to result in a whole lot of refund and potentially get you to another NP. Simultaneously, you also have an Arts NP where you can go, BQ or QB, and it's not statistically that different from this. It really just is kind of a arguing point for people. They're arguing over inches, and you can make that argument. I just don't really care. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, you're right. Now, because this unit is Quick and this unit is Arts, I'm going to roll for the Quick unit because this, the extra 1k damage I'm going to get off of that really fucking matters. It doesn't. I'm like, when values are close, you roll for the units you want to roll for. And this is something that I've talked about before. It's like, it's why having an imbalance in this game where it's not a small imbalance, it's a canyon of imbalance becomes really stupid on the devs part because it just naturally curbs people's enthusiasm to roll some units. It loops just like Arts but worse. Yeah, to a degree, right? I think looping to 50% versus looping to 80% is fine. I don't have any issue. In fact, there's a lot of Arts units that do this too. To me, where Quick really struggles is in the options. It's Quick doesn't have a sustained support. It doesn't have like it has a hybrid. You have people like the rats that give charge per turn and stuff like that, but or say that also can do it and also can heal and stuff. It's that's nice, but that's not a full-fledged support. That's designed to carry the Quick comp, right? So to me, it doesn't have the sustain option, and it doesn't have a split option. And because it doesn't have a split option, farming inherently suffers due to this. You literally can't just make Quick comps most of the time unless you're just double Scottying your way through it, and the node structure allows for it. Instead, a lot of how you're going to do farming comps at that point is either just the damage dealer themselves hard carries, a la Doman comps, or you are struggling with RNG from critting, a la Van Gogh or just any Summer Scotty comp where you NP 2 of the waves and card down the third. Or you are basically just relegating yourself to having to include an external card type unit. So somebody that's not Quick coming in to save things. Castoria, Reigns, Waver, you name it. Or again, somebody that is I don't know, maybe a Buster unit or something like that. Or heck, maybe you throw in a Nidochris into the comp because she can full charge. So you're having to mix things up and pull resources from other card types to make your system work at that point. To be fair, you have to do this some in all other types of comps too. This just happens by far the most with Quick. By far. And it's simply due to that lack of options. And it's these two things are what's impacting it by far the most. Now, I can also hear the plight of people saying I don't want Quick to just be the same as the other card types. That's fine. I agree. But then people are going to have to accept that as it is in its current iteration, there will always be a stigma because of that. Always. It will not be able to avoid said stigma. Because the issue at play is that mentality. It's that design philosophy. It has failed to impress the general populace. Or would you rather see two different supports with each thing? I think making a sustain support also a 50% charge support's pretty spicy. And I say that because you see that with Castoria. So if they do that, feel free to come back and reference this exact point where I called it spicy and said this would probably be something that would move the goalposts in the game yet again. You might have a new echelon of like quick meta because of that. How do you feel about devs just buffing the base crit damage of quick cards? It's really weird because for all intents and purposes, Buster is designed to be damage. Arts is designed to be refund. And Quick is designed to be stars. Where's the problem, chat? Yeah, stars has not been a thing. All right, so chat, let's take that out of the discussion. Where's the problem now? Is there anything else wrong with this picture? Because if you notice, I did something here. This isn't the actual order of the cards. Arts is your second highest damage. So Quick has the worst gimmick, and that gimmick is the most replaceable, and that gimmick literally can't carry the card type because it's also the weakest card type. Quick is 0.8. To me, the game would have been designed better with Quick as the middle card, where Arts does the least damage but refunds the most, Buster does the most damage but refunds the least, and Quick is the hybrid in between. And there's elements of that, but they just didn't do it that way. So Quick has just always kind of had some issues because of that. What if that's the plan, to make Quick neutral? How do you do that? How do you do that without breaking current game balance entirely? Because you got to think. What are you going to do? You're going to give Quick, if Quick is 0.8, and Arts is 1 point, and Buster's 1.5. What are you going to do? You're going to move Quick in between these? You're going to make it like 1.25? You could do that. That also means you just gave 0.45 to every single unit in the game that's Quick. To every single Quick card that every unit in the game has. To every single Quick MP that every unit in the game has. That's spicy. Does Quick have the best MP scaling though? Yes. Very minimal though. If you can actually go see it if you go look at the raw numbers for like Space Ishtar. Space Ishtar can do all 3 card types, right? And if you go look at her raw numbers, you'll notice it's like, I think it's like 27, and this is raw numbers including her self buffs. I think it's like 27, like 990 or something like that. I may be off by a little. And like that'll be how it is for like Arts and Buster. And then Quick will be 27 995. Like it scales better. It's such a small thing, and the whole entire reason that it does is purely due to like a rounding issue because of the actual percentiles that they made everything scale towards. So yeah, it's talked about like that, but it doesn't actually translate into actual extra damage. It's very, very small. And part of the reason for this is because the devs just smooth things out. Not that I blame them for that. Quick is the product of the early game not being centered around looping when stars and carding actually mattered. Yes. And the way they viewed it was Buster biggest damage, Arts middle damage but best refund, and Quick lowest damage but stars, and you can use stars to give you like double damage with crits. So they were like, we'll make it the least because it then carries into the next turn and then you make more damage. And it's like, yeah, it just didn't work out well, especially since the crit system's kind of RNG. You actually have like internal RNG modifiers to your individual cards that determine the weight. And you could do things to influence that, but like there's still always just going to be an RNG element. The only way to remove that RNG element is to just literally star bomb and have 50 stars. They also feared Quick for some reason. I think they're probably worried at least about the carding side more than your average player is. I will give the devs credit for stuff like that. Then the mistake was Koyan and Oberon star bombs? Yes, absolutely. I have no idea why they did that. I'm dead serious, chat. There is no reason to have given both of those support star bombs. The fact that both meta Buster supports have star bombs in their kit, actually stupid. And even if you go off meta, even if you do something like Koyanskaya of Dark, chat, you know how Koyanskaya of Light, when you hit a target with a Buster card, gives NP gain or NP charge? Koyanskaya of Dark does that, but instead it gives stars. So it's like actually wild. I can't believe they did it. Like, for raw damage output, they could have just left those two as they are, and the star bomb is just overkill. Don't get me wrong, I love it. I'm a huge beneficiary of that star bomb, but also like that was not smart of them from a balance standpoint at all. And that's kind of the mistake they keep making. They could make a unit attractive and desirable to roll, and it would rake in money. And wherever that like minimal amount is, if this is the minimum, right? And they are approaching the minimum to get like everybody to go crazy, they don't stop here. They go like way deeper. They make the unit like way stronger than the minimal amount. That's their fuck up right there. That's like stupid game design 101. You don't do that. And that's where I can only assume that they see metrics we don't, and they must have a reason to do certain things. But even then, I feel like they're playing it way too like overzealous. They straight up could get away with certain things. Like, again, I'm gonna give you guys an example, and y'all can agree or disagree with me. Just, you know, it is what it is. You can take Oberon, and you can just entirely get rid of Oberon's third skill. entirely. No third skill. Oberon only has 2 skills now. People would have still rolled for that unit. People would have still rolled for that unit. He'd still be meta. That's the other hilarious part. Still be meta. Without the third skill. So when you look at that, you realize, what the fuck are they doing? Why did they do that? Like, even if they wanted to give him a little bit extra there with the third skill, who the fuck thought doubling up every source of NP damage was a good idea? Like, it is the single largest power creep the game has ever seen in terms of statistical value. And I can't fathom why they thought that was a good idea. Because now you're dealing with, millions of health everywhere, and, like, straight up they're having to do, like, triple star nodes and shit like that. And you're just like, bro, what? Maybe it was Nasu. It might have been. Like that may be a Nasu issue. I don't know. All I can say is that at the end of the day, that's the issue that they've had. They go way past whatever the minimum would be to sell the unit effectively, to make sure people are interested. And they kind of take it up to 11 in some cases, and even 12. And it really just kind of results in a lot of people kind of sitting there and going like, okay, now I have to get this. And it's like, most of those people would have rolled anyways. So the conversion on that, sure, like you get more people because you design the unit that way. But the payoff can't be as good. The penalty, the to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. So like, and I've used the example many a time, and I'm sure chat's tired of it, but it's like Melisson, right? Like, you made Melisson so strong that she invalidated literally every other Lancer for years. That cannot have been good for you trying to sell any other Lancer for years. Like, yeah, you sold really good copies of Melisson, but you didn't sell 3 other Lancers to that same person because you made that one unit so strong. You could do the same thing with Kukulkan, you could do the same thing with Tiamat, you could do the same thing in a lot of these scenarios. And you start to wonder, it's like, why? Like, why did they make it where instead of the character being 5% stronger, the character is 40% stronger. The character is 50% stronger than the nearest. And you're sitting there and you're like, that's just stupid. Like, that's bad business sense. Mel only has 2 skills. Yeah. Now, and that's why I say it's like, I look at some of that and I just go like, are they even running their predatory gacha right? Right? Like, part of you goes like, I would have thought that would have been something that they wouldn't want to do. Because if you actually go back and you look at the early years of FGO, when FGO was the most profitable game in the world, it literally, like, and obviously things have changed, like circumstances, competitors, yada, 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 right? But like, if you go back and you look at that, the thing that I noticed is like, there was power creep, but the power creep was largely pretty, like, small. Your biggest power creeps were still like Oberon-like situations where you would have a Castoria come into the game, you would have a Scotty come into the game, you would have a Merlin come into the game. Those things change their metas. But unit-to-unit release, like, hey, we're releasing a new Lancer, hey, we're releasing a new Saber, like, they weren't, like, overpoweringly stronger than the prior one. They were all, like, competitive with each other for years. And it was only, like, down the line we started to get some of these, like, super scalers is what I'd call them. And I can't fathom why the devs did that. I don't know. It's short-term thinking. Yeah, that may be it. Like, maybe they're just trying to, like, get as much money as they can. Maybe they fear the game's, like, staying power. But I mean, at least signs don't seem to indicate that would be the case. One, because they're still developing the game into the future. Two, they're not giving doom and gloom messaging other than Nasu. And we kind of know why Nasu's doing it. And three is, like, in general, I would assume at this point they should have multiple examples of, like, hey, maybe we didn't think this was going to perform that well, but the game is still kind of just trucking on, and it does fine. I do think they have units that they release that don't do as well. Like, one of the more recent ones that I can think of is Bichon. But again, that's just a factor of, like, poor timing for release. Maybe not, like, the most attractive character ever. Kit's kind of wonky. And, you know, more powerful competitors exist. So I think it's like, that was a confluence of just, like, a lot of bad factors all at the same time. Favoritism for Nasu's new character? I mean, maybe, right? Like, I couldn't tell you. That sort of stuff is like, boy, to be a fly on the wall, right? Like, when they're talking about, like, hey, why do we make this character this strong? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Because, like, some of it's definitely lore related. Some of it's, like, not, though, at the same time. Bichon and Komachi kind of fall into that category. Yeah, I don't think they're, like, bad units or, like, it was like, oh man, we never should have released that. Like it's not a mistake. It's just one of those things where I don't think the unit itself performed that well due to a confluence of factors. Whether or not a similar unit with maybe one or two of the factors removed would have performed better, I think, to me, that's, like, kind of a no-brainer. It probably would have, but there's no guarantee. Hello, hi. How's it going? Wait, why is Nasu glooming? Kind of multiple reasons. One, Nasu has in the past gloomed because we know he basically was just kind of overworked. He had multiple projects that he was trying to juggle, particularly Tsukihime. From what I've understood, Nasu's kind of done writing Tsukihime, but don't have part 2, so I'm not sure if that theory holds up at this point. And then I think, like, at least now that he got, like, the first part out, he feels like he's able to, like, balance things better, and he said so himself. So it's like, I'm thinking now he's maybe in a better mental state, but then why does he still do it now? And that kind of gets to the truth of the matter. I think the truth of the matter is that Nasu is trying to dramatically set up the ending of part 2. He knows that if he just tells you, hey, there is a part 3, it's going to suck a lot of the wind out of the ending of part 2. And he wants you to not be sure that there is a part 3, so that it's more impactful to you. That being said, we pretty much know there's a part 3, and there's so many signs that point to it, so it is what it is. But I think that's why he's doing it. It's mostly just, like, him wanting to actually, like, set the tone and feel for the ending. First part is done. He's got another 15 years to delay now. Oh, dude. Yeah, so what needs to happen is he needs to get about 5 years into the development for part 2 of Tsukihime, right? And then at about 5 years, he needs to make an announcement that he's close and that they're working on it. And then he needs to instead get distracted and release FGO2. And then 10 years after that, like once FGO2 hits its 10-year anniversary, then he can finally release Tsukihime Part 2. Smash gonna smash? Yeah. Okay, do you think they'll announce part 3 at 10th Annie? I could see them not. I could see them just putting the lid on it. I think they'll start to talk about quote unquote the future. And they're going to talk about it in vague terms. They're going to assure you that the game does have a future. They're going to talk about, like, yeah, we've come up with, like, a plan. They're just not going to mention part 3. That's, honest to God, that's what I think they'll do. Because they don't want to erode what Nasu's, like, all the setup Nasu's doing. But they also don't... Oh, I'm sorry, I just saw the song skip. They also don't want to... They also don't want to leave everyone hanging. I think they know at this point that, like, that doom and gloom has kind of had some negative repercussions. Because, like, you literally... You have Nasu out there saying, like, you need to be prepared for the end. Everything comes to an end. Like, that's some pretty, like... scary wording for people. Okay, chat. Let's play some Blitzball. I'm just kidding. Let's do some more alt account here. I've advanced some from the last time you guys saw me. So this is the new player account. It's a brand spanking new account. You can see it's only level 41. I've definitely leveled up a little bit here. In the meantime, things that I've done, I have advanced the Orleans story a little bit. Not too much. We're down in Leon here. I kind of just used this to spend down AP and to get some of, like, my missions done here. So it is what it is. Apparently I made a new friend, so I'm good on that front. Somebody accepted me. That's probably what happened. Probably people that had me sitting on their friends list looked through their friends list. Yeah, now I have 10 friends. Let's go. So, purely because of that campaign, you're not going to be as lucky normally if you're a new player starting out. That is unfortunate that I got that lucky. I would have preferred to have not, just to kind of show you guys. Again, I've been going through, when I do nodes, if I like the person's account, usually the person I'm selecting, I like their account. But if I like their account, I send them a friend request, and they may or may not accept it. It's going to take time in a lot of cases. People aren't usually diligent hawks, like patrolling their friends list that often. So it is what it is. But in this case, I lucked out because there's an actual campaign with missions for story completion here that literally require you to have accepted friend requests for the stuff. I do need to apparently complete free quests to complete the Pilgrimage Festival that's currently going on. So that's something I'm going to go do here. I can just go back to Fiyuki. I get literally quartz and some more evocation leaves. I've already also managed to buy Jerker, at least her first copy there, which is definitely nice. In fact, let's kind of just run into a node here real fast, just to get the AP ticking, just to kind of alleviate things, so to speak. I'm still kind of just taking the friend supports that are 200 FP. You could definitely take, like, an overpowered carry. I'm just confident in my ability to, like, make it through a lot of the content here. If you're not, that's perfectly fine. There's no issues with that. Just, again, my advice, even if you're going to use an overpowered carry, take your time with it some. Learn the flow of the game. Get a feel for carding. Again, brave chaining, mighty chaining. Get the 3 of a kind bonuses. Figure out how they work. See them in practice. And kind of learn to apply that. Same thing. Pay attention to your crit stars. All of that. Class bonuses. That sort of thing. So that way you guys learn the game a little bit better. These early singularities are your best time to do it. Game is stupidly easy at this point. There's really not a huge concern. That's why I'm advising you to do it now rather than later on when it gets tough and it starts, like, the difficulty starts increasing a little bit more and you start going like, oh man, what do? I don't know. I've not had to actually do these things. It's usually a better idea to learn the units, learn the game, kind of get everything under control early. establish yourself a good set of fundamentals that you can just kind of succeed a little bit better and deal with more challenging scenarios. Because some of the biggest things I get as a content creator for this game, I get people asking me, how do you form team compositions? How do you basically manage to decide which card to use in which situation? And it's a very fluid type of system. It's very much go with whatever you think is going to work best. And that's one of those things where you will learn over time, but there's not necessarily a like guaranteed solution. We do have a Wyvern here. I've got Waver, so I'm going to go ahead and pop the defense buff just to be on the safe side. Probably not a huge concern, but definitely something to watch out for. And Waver's actually strong enough somehow to be able to kill that entirely with one card. I say strong enough somehow. His carding is actually incredibly weak in these scenarios. But he's still stronger than just about everything else I've got. So that's kind of where we're going to go at for this. So I actually have a couple Sitheno cards here. We're going to go ahead with the Buster lead here into a Mighty Chain with Sitheno, just to get her cards dealing some decent damage, but also to kind of set up. There you go. The Wyvern is dead. It's definitely not a difficult thing there. And all that's just going to leave us is this last zombie. Now, I can obviously Mighty Chain if I want, but I also have a Triple Arch Chain. And I can just abuse this for a little bit of extra charge on Waver. It might not matter in the general purpose of things, but I can go ahead and do that in such a way to get a little bit more there, in case maybe this were like a challenge fight or something. Maybe I did need this. I'm going to go ahead and pop Waver's attack up there, just kind of get them a little bit of extra. I'm going to pop her Charm, but it didn't land on the Wyvern because I think it's male only, yeah. And the Wyvern is not gendered at this point. That skill does get upgraded, but I don't have the upgrade yet. And upgrades are definitely something that you kind of should do as you get access to them. Right now, at the moment, I haven't invested in most of my units, so I don't really have that capability yet, but it'll definitely become a thing in the coming chapters here as we start to level up and kind of work on this stuff. And you can see that's Marie. Marie is actually a very defensive rider. She has an offensive Noble Phantasm, but she is somebody that has 3 times for 5 turns invincible for herself. Makes her really, really tanky. She also has a heal in her kit and stuff, so it's good. Like she's difficult to bring down. She might not be the most offensive rider you use in the game, but she will be a tank and a good challenge unit in a lot of aspects. Okay, we are inching towards that level up. I've been cleverly avoiding it as well. I've also made several blue apples since we last played together because I didn't want to get too far ahead. I wanted to show like, hey, yes, I've made some progress since the last time, but not like anything you can't just pause the video and kind of catch up with me on. I did do some FP rolling as well. And I think the only new characters I got Leonidas and I got, what's his face? Mozart as well. Mozart's, again, a really good low-level one. Let's see, for banners here currently, still nothing like super meta. Let's go ahead and let's roll out our FP, see what we get here. Nothing new, but we did get an additional copy of Arash. Gonna make our Arash stronger, and trust me, you want Arash to be about as strong as possible, so that's gonna be good. I can certainly roll for like Medusa Saber again here, but we actually got the 5-star CE out of this. We got really lucky, so to me, the value of that banner's down a little bit. Could roll here, try to get a cheeky like Balbon Sith or Miss Crane, but honestly, not necessarily the best use of my resources. Same thing here. Huyan Zhou's a good AoE assassin. Wang Fei Hu's just a generic single target 4-star rider. And honestly, Bakin is a pretty decent AoE rider, with Hessian Lobo being a single target Avenger, so a rather rare combination. But honestly, these banners, not too solid. We have Anniversary coming up soon for an A. It's probably at this point just better to save my courts for something like that. I'm not in dire need of a new unit. I'm honestly, in a lot of ways, struggling to handle the unit that I currently have and am operating. Like you guys can see my roster here. because I'm going to be getting so many of these new Evocation Festival units. These are the welfares that have existed prior in the game. These are freebies. You can, again, if you get enough leaves, you can get them to NP5. You can get them all the way up to level 80. So an NP5 welfare is a pseudo like 5-star in terms of its quality and capability. And that's really good. And I'm going to be getting a bunch of these for free. So it's honestly to my benefit to make the best use of them right now rather than to try to like go ham rolling other options that I may or may not need yet. I still have not used my tickets yet because it hasn't become a major concern, and because at least as of right now the tickets don't get anything for the resources that I currently need for skills. You can see I've gotten a whole bunch more. I do have tickets and things like that. It's definitely really good. I will hold off on them. But feel free, if you see a banner, you really like the unit design, or you just really think that that unit would be good for your account, go ahead. Roll if you have the resources. In general, people will tell you to save all the way up to pity in FGO, but for a new account, this is not that big of a concern because you just lack options. Now, you will, again, get those welfares, but hey, if you're like, man, I really like the look of Medusa Saber here, maybe I'm going to roll for that. You can go for it. But for reference, in order to hit pity in FGO, you need 900 quartz, or the equivalent of it by way of like summoning tickets and stuff. That's kind of rough. It's basically 300 spins because it's 3 quartz per spin. 300 spins in FGO will get you to pity for an SSR. It does not carry over to other banners. It does not like roll in any way, shape, or form. So that's something to be concerned with. But again, like I said, with a newer account, you're not going to really save up to that often. With more veteran accounts that are kind of well established and stuff, it's not hard to save to pity because they just don't roll for new stuff that comes out unless they really, really want it. That's not that bad, especially if you're playing the game, you're logging in every day, you're getting those bonuses, you're bonding up characters, you're getting it through other means. It's actually not that difficult to save up to 900 quartz. But for newer players, it's going to be rough. And so at that point, I'm going to say, go ahead and save, see what you can get. So right now, we're actually all the way up to 84 quartz. That's almost enough for 3 entire multis. We also have 11 tickets right here. That is an entire multi in and of itself. So not doing too bad in terms of resources should another banner come out. Average to roll a unit is about 300 quartz rather than 300 spins. Don't get confused there. It's 900 quartz for the pity. But average to roll a unit is usually about 300 for an SSR. There is a spook rate in the game. It's about 8%. 80% is the rate at which you will get the unit of choice. And the reason that this kind of works this way, and to explain this, your SSR rate is 1% in the game. Of that 1%, 0.8, aka 80% of the 1%, is going to end up being your odds of getting the rate up. 0.2, the remaining 20% of that 1%, would be your odds of getting the random spook, the non-rate up option. So FGO's really got a low SSR rate, but it has a really low spook rate too. Doesn't mean you're not going to get spooked. It will happen throughout the course of your career. I guarantee it as you're playing this game. Spooks happen. They suck unless they're units that you need. And some of the spooks can be good units, but it's just something to pay attention to with regards to the gacha and understand. The reason I'm going to tell you that 300 quartz number is also so that you have a good idea of expectations so that you don't get like needlessly upset. Because I've seen people be like, oh man, I just rolled 90 quartz and I got nothing. That's actually pretty common. That's why people tell you it's like at least save some, try to like have enough to put in a decent like shot towards a banner. If you don't want to save all the way to pity, that's fine. Just don't be that, stereotypical person that we see all the time that's like, oh man, I rolled very small amounts of quartz and then I'm complaining that I didn't get anything. It's like, yeah, it's not every multi's going to have something. That is the issue that this game has. The gacha system in FGO has always been a very brutal system, but it's also been a brutally fair system in what it is. And again, unlike maybe some of the other games that you've played, FGO is actually really generous with its quartz. Like I said, last you saw me, I had like no quartz, and already just in a couple of days here, I'm up to 84. It really is something that you can actually get very quickly. There's always campaigns running. There's always missions to do. There's always other ways of getting the quartz. So it's kind of not as bad as most people would have you believe in that regard. But it's also not like the best gacha ever, and it's not going to be the cheapest gacha either in that regard. So just keep that in mind, and you'll be good. As long as you have good expectations and try to save for the things that you want, you'll be well set to actually kind of getting those things. So let's go ahead and let's actually run back to the shop over here. Let's see if I have any more evocation leaves in order to get the items that I want. Like I said, I got Jerker here, aka John Alter Berserker. I got her first copy. I've purchased one of her upgrade items. I'm going to purchase 2 more. We don't have enough to get the final one yet. We need about 40 more leaves. I might get that with a login bonus or something like that. But basically, now we can actually take Jerker all the way up to at least level 70 out of that. We don't have the last ascension for 70 to 80, but we can at least take her all the way up to level 70 if we want. Now, what do we have in terms of cards? I already used all the Berserker cards that I have. I could use some of these all cards on her. They work on every class. Generally speaking, if you're going to do this stuff, all cards work the best on extra classes. So not the 7 base classes that you see here. The extra classes are going to be things like Ruler, Avenger, Moon Cancer, Shielder even. That's where the all cards work the best, but you can use all cards on anybody. It's just those extra classes are only going to get the card experience bonus from using an all type of Ember. Whereas normal 7 base classes do at least have a devoted Ember type of their class. And I would highly advise you to sync them up and use them accordingly, because that's what's going to work best for you. So if we were to come over to the Sabers over here, I can at least kind of come over here to Faber, aka Caesar, and just say, you know what? I'm going to apply these 5-star Saber Embers to him and do this because this is just going to make him stronger. And it will be better than using, say, Archer Embers or Lancer Embers on him, because I will get more of a bonus for using the appropriate Ember type. All Embers give the appropriate bonus for everything, but that's why we tell you, hey, they actually work best on the extra class in that regard. And one of the things that I actually haven't done to date that I probably should do with you guys is I should set a good example, and I should level up MASH with you. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that here. You're going to see me. I'm going to throw some stuff in. Now, I'm at 30 out of 30, but unfortunately, if you kind of, you guys saw me. I went into the auto select up here. I have it set to same class, and I have it set to do all rarities of Embers. But this isn't the smartest way to do things necessarily, because this is not a terribly smart thing. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if we come down here and we look at some of my Embers, how much do I actually have the amount by over here? If I remove some of these Embers, you can see I'm still at the cap, which means these were kind of getting wasted. And the reason why is because this all 4-star Ember is giving 30,000 experience. The silver one's giving about 10,000. The bronze ones are giving way, way less. So what's happening there is a gold is basically getting you to the cap, but it's also got some waste. You're going over it. So I can back that, even out the silver Ember. I'm still at the cap, which means that I overshot it by quite a bit. Now, if I back out a gold Ember, I can put other stuff in. So, can I get there without it? No. If not, I wouldn't have had to use the gold Ember. So, to me, at this point, you can actually see kind of down here in the bottom right, you could actually see the results and how much it's going to take. A silver there is moving it maybe a little bit more than a third, which means it's actually not that inefficient. But basically, we're not overshooting as much as it looked. It's just the game will automatically kind of load the lower Embers first, just as a means to an end. We're going to go ahead, do this, and use it to get MASH to her level cap. And MASH is a really, really good defensive unit. You can see we don't have the ability to enhance MASH. And the reason why? We're not far enough in the story yet to do so. So if you were to come in here and you were to be like, hey, why didn't I have the ability to level Mash? You can't select her. The game literally just won't let you until you advance more. But that's going to be really good. That's going to get Mash set up quite well for me. You can actually, if you want, go ahead and work on Mash's skills. Generally speaking, a good idea. Because again, Mash is going to be really nice if you do end up in a challenged environment. Particularly, you want to get her third skill unlocked as fast as you can, because that skill is a taunt. And taunts are really, really strong in this game. Taunts are going to be what allow you to do things that you maybe wouldn't otherwise normally be able to do, because certain taunt skills in the game allow you to redirect enemy attacks to them, which can take pressure off of some of your units. We go back in here into Orleans here and kind of advance the plot a little bit more. We're up against riders and assassins, so having Citheno in here is not too bad. Having Marie, not too good. If I really wanted, I could kind of back out and I could take Mozart here instead. He might be a decent option, but I'm just going to go with Marie because Marie's harder to kill and Mozart's kind of a pushover. You won't know that, but I do. So again, we're going to actually bring Nito in. She'll be a little bit susceptible to the rider, but she will be good against the assassins. We're going to go ahead and skip story. Feel free to read it. Like I said, story is absolutely amazing in FGO. I've just already done it all. But yes, there are various ways you can get taunt. You can get taunt from units. You can have a unit put a taunt on another unit, which is rare. That's the scapegoat skill. And then there's even rarer, there are certain craft essences in the game that give taunt. I believe there's only about 4 or 5 of them at the moment, and they have not added to that list in years, so don't expect it to change. But there is one taunt C that you can actually get. You'll have to probably check out one of the later videos for that. I do have a video about it. It's called the Outrage CE. It's a very fantastic craft essence, but you can actually get it pretty cheaply. It's going to cost you 1 rare prism, but it's well worth, and I highly recommend every player get it. All right, so we go ahead and use Nitocris's skill here. Unfortunately, it looks like it's a Rider Major type of node, so we're just going to kind of do an Arch Chain here. We'll probably card this first one out and have maybe Nitocris like death proc down one of the waves, because this is all going to be Riders. This could be quite nasty here. Okay, I don't have the triple Arch Chain, but I do have the makings of a Mighty. Go ahead, lead with the Nitocris Buster card here. It actually was enough charge to get her all the way up to 100%. Sometimes Buster cards are okay for NP gain, other times they're not. This depends on the unit, depends on the hit counts at play, and it depends on the type of enemy you're hitting even. There's a lot of factors that go into NP gain. I have an entire video explaining that one as well. NP gain and looping explained. Go check it out. But it is a fantastic resource for helping you guys understand that stuff. And it's really a good idea to have a grasp on, like, refund and how it works in this game. Because refund and kind of in general, just the concept of looping is such a dominant thing in FGO for in-game farming. Why not? Citheno NP into the Wyvern. Citheno has a gender-based NP. It can death proc males. Not really gonna work here because again the Wyverns are what they are, but it gave me a Brave Chain, so I was like, whatever, let's do it. Okay, same deal here. We'll actually just hold off on the Nito NP at this point. Now you can see they have the crit damage icon on them, or the crit chance up, sorry. You need to be a little bit careful about that. Obviously, Wyverns are just in general annoying, but crit damage means that they have the, or crit chance means they have the chance to just, you know, increase crit. And I'm running 2 units that are literally the, the actual, weakness for this. So basically this Wyvern could potentially insta-give my my Nitocris here or something, and that would be really, really bad. I would not want that to happen. You will get various rewards from doing story. You can see I'm getting chests from doing the node itself. But honestly, over the years, they've vastly expanded the amount of rewards you get for doing story. This is to help incentivize players to get caught up, but also in general to just be a like a good thing, a good incentive for the players to actually participate in the story. Because I do think that there are some players that kind of get like decently far into the story but just never complete it, and that was their way of saying like, hey, look, if you do this, you will gain increased rewards, and this would be a good idea for you to do. Heckenborkers, yes. There we go. Didn't kill either of them. Again, they're servants. You don't really expect to. We did get rid of the Berserker, though. That was Lancelot Berserker. Some of you guys may recognize him from Fate Zero, but a little bit expecting to death proc some of the servants in the game is always a losing proposition. There you go. Sanson dies. We're very close to leveling up. We'll probably level up on our next run. We also got Fangs. That's going to be really good for us. Fangs are one of the common mats. There's 3 tiers of materials for Ascension mats. There are bronze, silver, and gold. And that is literally their rarity and how often they will appear. We got bronze mats. Bronze mats, while they are the most common, they're also the most used for your stuff. So getting some early Fangs is never a bad thing. Oh, I did forget to do the free quest. Let's go and do that. Sorry, sometimes I do get distracted. We'll go ahead and back out. Now, I can do a free quest right there in Orleans, but I think there was already one that I started, and I have to do 2 runs. So, yep, right here. We're just going to do Massive Cavern 2 more times, and that should actually get us the completion bonus for this, which is quartz. All right, so what are we dealing with? So, because this isn't a story node, this is just a free quest. It's a literal farm node if you want to do them. This is going to be how you would potentially, like, farm Ascension materials outside of, like, getting them from other sources. So, all the nodes are not created equal. Some are better than others, but you do want to complete every node at least 3 times to get that completion reward. Now, because of that, though, I don't have a story support, so this is just going to be a take a friend. Usually when it's a mixed node like this, it's a good idea to maybe come in and try to look at a Berserker or something like that, particularly if you've not got a handle on the way extra classes work, which admittedly I have not really explained to you. We're going to take this really spicy 120 Arjuna and just kind of let him go to town. I'm going to keep my Nitocris in here, let her maybe death proc some stuff, and this should be fun. Now, this guy has a max limit broken kaleidoscope. You can see he actually starts at 100%, 120% charge. 100% is from the MLBK scope. Okay. 20% is from his mana loading append skill. That is basically a skill that every single unit in the game has. So, depending on what craft essence you were running, maybe you're running like a 50% CE, that 20% append would then turn his starting charge into 70%, which he has a 30% charge skill. So, that would have actually been ideal. I'm actually surprised they put a K-scope on him, all things considered. But that may just be kind of the best scenario that they have. So, wouldn't look at too much in the mouth, and again, it just allows him to kind of NP right off the bat if I wanted to. In this case, this early wave is rather weak, so I think it's probably a good idea to just kind of card my way right through it. And you know what? Yeah, we'll just kind of let him take the first Dragon Tooth Warrior here, because he should easily be strong enough, as he is. And we'll let Waver combine for the second one. And this is just a pretty easy send it and win it. Now you can actually click or, tap your screen to move through some of these nodes faster. As you get those in-between screens where it says like battle, like 2 out of 3 or something like that, that's just it loading in. You can actually skip that, basically. We're going to go ahead and fire off Nitocris's Noble Phantasm here. Have her easily handle the Dragon Tooth Warriors, and this should make things pretty easy. And she death procced all 3. Let's go. I'm definitely going to have to find a good farm for pages, because pages are something that both Waver and Nitocris need. It's just going to be an issue for the two of them. And we have a 25k Saber here. I wonder who it is. I just popped all his stuff. There were no stars anyways to soak with the second skill, so I guess that one was redundant. But otherwise, you guys get to see Arjuna Alter in all of his glory. He is going to do work. Arjuna Alter's main gimmick here is he is an AoE Buster Berserker, but such a strong one, it just easily overpowered this. And like I said, his main gimmick is actually that he deals increased damage to enemies that have debuffs on them. But his NP applies a debuff at the very beginning of it. So it works. Somehow that didn't level me up. You can see I got my daily missions done. Means I got 30 more of the evocation leaves. Unfortunately, we need 10 more, I think, for the final Jerker upgrade item. And then from there, I can actually just begin to purchase additional copies of Jerker if I want. We got even more quartz fragments. Basically, at 70 of these, I would have 10 more quartz, is the way to think about it. You can go ahead and convert them if you want. I usually don't, just to dissuade me from rolling. But up to you to determine how you want to handle things. Why don't we show off Ibuki? Feels weird seeing Nito that low level. Yeah, what's crazy is she's already like super effective at what she's doing, even at this level. Like watching Nitocris still like triple death proc is so hilarious to me. So basically, I can just go ahead and pop Ibuki Doji Berserkers. Hit here. She actually has cooldown here. She will refund some off of this. She is an Arts Looping Berserker. She's AoE. And she is a summer unit, as you can tell. So if I had more appropriate art support, she would actually get a whole lot of refund off of this. But I don't. So she only got 49%. That's still enough. This is going to be a 3-turn node for us, likely. Because I can go ahead and pop charge skills. And that would be enough to get Nitocris to fire off an MP. But I want to show you a really quick, interesting interaction here. With regards to the NP gauge. Ibuki Doji has 69%. Nice. This is basically 70% for all intents and purposes. The reason why is because while Waver's first skill over here will give 30% charge to a target, that would only equal 99%. There's a little known kind of thing here in FGO that whenever you get 99%, the game will always round you up to 100. There are only 2 exceptions to this. I'm going to tell you the 2 that you need to know. The first is if you are at any 99% greater than 100, so 199 or 299, it will not round up. At that point, you got to actually get to those numbers. The reason that matters is for things like overcharge buffs and stuff like that. But for just firing off the Noble Phantasm, this will round up as long as you can get her the requisite charge. The second exception is if you are drained down to 99%, it will not round up. That unfortunately can happen if you're facing, say, ghosts, which sometimes have that as part of their kit. They will drain you. You have to be a little bit careful, but behold, as the 69% rounded up to 100, and now she could just fire off a Noble Phantasm again if she wanted to. We're going to go ahead and send Nito's NP, and hopefully this is enough to get us right through. Yeah, 98% is the one that everyone fears in this game, not 99. All right, she death proc 2 of the 3, and she outright just killed the third one because it's low enough health. Should a new account roll for Saber Medusa? Can if you want. I'm choosing not to. Doesn't mean she's bad. Just that I have my eyes set on different things. The Buki's ready to fire off a Noble Phantasm yet again. And again, she is going to easily kill. And somehow, by some miracle, I still have not leveled up. It's just because I went back and did lower level nodes. But you can see we're still just getting tutorial missions rolling in every time we do just about anything. And there we go. We got a quartz for getting the completion. And also, because I have a limited time quest here, I'm going to get 10 more evocation leaves and 2 more quartz. I'm also going to get a crystallized lore. This is the item I mentioned earlier for if you want to take a character's skills to their maximum to rank 10. The final rank as you go from 9 to 10 will always require crystallized lore. This is really going to hamstring you pretty early on in your account, but it actually just gets better over time. They do pretty frequently give them out, but the vast majority of them do come from events. So I highly recommend you do events. Otherwise, you're just not going to get them and you're not going to be able to complete a unit's skills. And that's definitely going to restrict you in some ways, as you really want to get a unit's skills all the way maxed out. Just in general, due to the point of like charge skills and potentially damage steroid type of skills. Charge skills especially, you need them to hit certain increments for them to be perfectly effective. Like, for instance, I talked about Arjuna Altar there having 30% charge. Only if you have it at rank 10. And again, combining that with his append of 20%, that's only going to be if you have the append skill at rank 10. So the player having both of that meant that you could have started Arjuna Altar with 50% charge. If the player didn't have these, you would have had to have started him with more somehow to make up for that. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah, let's kind of walk back over here to the Da Vinci shop. I'm actually going to go into my mailbox down here and just see if anything from those rewards went direct into it. They didn't, but I already saw the pop-up go by on the top of the screen there. I have 50 of the evocation leaves, which means I can buy Jerker's final ascension item. So now the only thing holding me back from getting her all the way to the max are embers. And that's just going to be an issue for a little bit for me, but it's definitely something we can do. In fact, why don't we go deal with that right now? Kind of. Problem with Berserker Embers is there's no devoted farm of it. But that's not a permanent problem. Now, you can go do the other free quests if you want for quartz. My advice, focus on story before you like hard focus on that. You're going to get quartz from it, but it's not going to be like a super amount. If you feel the need to, go for it. But to me, getting caught up in time to do events and stuff, usually a little bit more important. As we're kind of looking at this, we're going to go into the Chaldea Gate. I'm going to go over here and look at my daily quests because, again, embers are what I was talking about getting. So currently today we have the caster daily for Embers. It's actually perfect since we have several casters. And we're going to run in, we're going to do the extreme version. This is going to be a little bit spicier, but nothing too crazy. Nothing we can't handle. I'm going to take a good rider for something like this. Again, Drake is sort of my ideal. Asmodeus has at least an origin bullet on her, which means increased damage to casters. You will have some, obviously some archers in here, but I wouldn't worry too much about that. They're not going to be the dominant one. That being said, probably not going to keep Faber here in the party. Going to swap him out here for maybe Romulus. And let's see, I'm also probably going to change out Sathino for Kentucky Rider. We're going to put him in and let him do work. So now I'm going to have 2 riders in here, which means bare minimum I should be able to like card my way through things should I have to. And if I really want to, I could switch off this Mysticode. I've been using the Mages Association here for the extra 20% charge. But honestly, I'm pretty confident this will work regardless of what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to switch back to my OG Mysticode because it's easier to level, and I will get a little bit more bang for my buck on that. And you can see I'm kind of just triaging. I'm hopping from thing to thing, kind of never overly focusing on one thing, trying to just advance the account all around in every way, shape, and form that I can. And that's just a lot of how FGO is going to work. I'm going to focus primarily on the caster first here. Drake always doing solid carding damage. I've got literally Triple Buster here, and I'm going to take advantage of that. Triple Buster's your highest damage chain. And there you go. I used that to get rid of a pesky archer, and now we only have the one. I have 2 turns to kill before it Noble Phantasms. That's not ideal, but should be able to make it work. There we go. We get a lucky crit there. And we actually have a Mighty Chain here. I could definitely abuse that, and I actually think I will, because I'm pretty confident my level 54 here can still take this down. And there you go. He gets full charge off of that, which should make this a lot easier. So I'm going to go ahead and pop Waver's attack up skill. I'm going to give her her middle skill here, which has been upgraded to give her the Buster Up version. And I'm going to go ahead and fire off her NP. I'm not going to use her first skill because we're going to save that for Kentucky on the following turn. Yep. So she unfortunately left one of the archers alive. That was just unluck of the draw. I got 2 archers in 2 of the early waves. That's really just bad luck. Especially if you're hoping for more like casters to be in here. We also didn't really get much in the way of berserkers because of that. We pop the NP damage up there. And actually, she's close enough to get back to her NP again. The voice lines are kind of covering it, but should be able to do some work. Let's see if we can get Kentucky to kill outright. This will kill regardless, this combination, but I want to see how much I can get Kentucky to do here. Not too shabby, actually. Not going to kill, but this will. And she still has the 3-turn Buster Up. This is the last turn that it's available. So that definitely helped out her Buster NP. And you can see she dealt 128, so she could have killed that pretty much on her own. And there you go. That levels me up, which also means I can do this again. Sometimes doing the Extreme Ember Gatherings is a recipe to very quickly level your account, so it's something to be aware of. Manage your AP. You can make blue apples if you need to, if you don't want it to rot. But unfortunately, the more I do this, the more my account is going to level. You can see it kind of jump pretty pretty heftily into the next level there. The same deal. Let's see who we can take. I got Asmodeus again. This is just a match made in heaven for this particular node. But getting these embers will just help make my unit stronger. It's really funny. I did a sort of a challenge when I started out my JP account originally. I started at kind of the middle part of year 2 on JP. Sorry, year 3 on JP. And that ended up basically being a weird time where I had to kind of bum rush the story in an effort to get things unlocked so that I could get a particular like craft essence on my JP account, because there are anniversary craft essences that they give out all the time, and that particular year had one that I was like, ooh, I really like that, but I had to get all the way through all of part 1 done and go into the Epic of Remnants, which are like the in-between chapters, and I had to do all of Shimosa, and the highest level character I had at the time was a level 40. And it did not go well, but it worked. That being said, we're not trying to make this a challenge run for you guys. I'm literally just going to like power grind some of these units for you and kind of showcase how you guys can do that so you can get ahead of the story and not have to do things like I did. All right, same deal here. Gonna pop the NP gain up, and this is an interesting one. I know she's probably unlikely to kill the archer again, but actually let's go ahead and do the attack up from waiver just to make sure of that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put her arts card second, because her card might kill, or whoever's card that you put there might kill. I'm also gonna turn it into a mighty chain. But the idea here is I don't want to risk somebody else killing. I want her to get any potential NP gain off the back of this that's possible. Because Buster doesn't give any NP gain, but her arts card will. And there you go. She did get some. Actually, it looks like Kentoki would have been potentially safe, but he did crit there. The Drake doesn't get nearly as much here. Oops. But still something we can do. We can go ahead and pop all of that. And I could go with his quick card, but we're actually going to pre-card with a Drake Buster card and then post-card with it so that it gets the Buster bonus. You can see just her Buster crits alone are enough to really chunk that enemy. So this Kentoki NP should kill, and we should be well on our way to having a couple of solid embers now added to the account. Hello, Avila. Oh, it was, Agent. And keep in mind, that was not everything at level 40. That was like one unit at level 40. Alright, so we leveled up again. So I can just keep doing this ad infinitum if I want. Obviously, I don't want to. We'll do it like maybe one more time here. Just give me a good chunk of embers. But doing this infinitely is boring for chat and you guys, so I'm not gonna like make you guys constantly like watch me do this. Let's do that. And let's actually try sending her early here and seeing if we can get kind of a different result with things. She's definitely not going to kill the left archer. Basically, because this wave has 2 archer hands in it, I'm going to abuse it and get the NP off here. And the next wave might as well, but we're hoping that it doesn't. And it doesn't. It has 3. That's even worse somehow. What the heck, game? It is definitely trying to disprove my point that this is a caster major node. We're going to go ahead and pop the defense skill here, as it's going to kind of be necessary. I'm actually going to do her arts card. I'm not going to get back to an NP really quickly here. I'm just going to stagger the cards here in case of crits. Oh, man. Kentoki weight roomed me. Okay, so this is definitely going to be spicy because I have 2 turns to kill 2 really, really powerful hands at this point that are neutral to me. Don't get the Buster crit. That is unfortunate, and therefore I do not kill that. So one of these is going to get its MP off on me, potentially. Well, there's an outward shot if I got both Kentoki crits, but I don't even think that's going to be enough. So one of the things I can do here is I can heal Drake up to make it less likely that she actually gets killed. And I can dodge on Kentoki. Waver's already kind of expended his usefulness, so I don't even really care. And I can get rid of one of these for sure. So this is just really bad RNG in a node. It happens. You know how to handle it. It's not a huge deal. There you go. It actually was stupid. It went for Kentoki. It didn't do crap to him. So it'd be what it be. Definitely getting some hiccuping here. Not sure why. And I'm actually going to take the quick chain here. Should give me crit stars for the follow-up turn. Unfortunately, we lose Waver's attack buff. This is not going to be super ideal. But I do have Drake ready for her NP again. So we can combine this. Why not? Go for the Mighty Chain. Pity this account with 1 blue rider gem? I mean, it can. Honestly, training grounds are not bad. Having going back to them, like, I almost never touch training grounds now as a, like, veteran of the game, but going back to them, they're really not that bad. The big problem is just gems early on for your account for skills are kind of annoying. Obviously, materials are going to be a little bit more annoying long term, but in the short term, gems are kind of bad, and they're not often given to you via certain quests and stuff, so it becomes a little bit of an issue. Now, I'm not quite at cap there. We'll go ahead and we'll power on through this. Basically, I'm backing out of the node here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go and use some of those embers now. Make my account a little bit stronger. Should make things easier on me, too. We had filtered the shielder. We're going to unapply that. Now, I could go ahead and I could use these embers on Waver. Waver is a support caster. He's not really going to be doing a whole lot of offense for us. Obviously, carding is the thing right now for me. I'm going to be putting this on Nidochris. Nidochris is going to be the actual caster that we're going to be using. That's where it's going to work out really well. Now, you can see, again, I just kind of made do here, but let's actually back some of this out and see if we can get a, you know, super success proc. Didn't get it. Come back in. Yeah, whatever. Let's do 3. Then if it does proc, we'll just get full. Didn't. I can fish again. At this point, this is saving me 1 ember if it does proc. And it doesn't. So you can see, I need 66k experience to level up. This is 97k. Honestly, not that useful. This is going to be one of those scenarios where I'm just going to kind of come down here and we're going to use some of these, like, all embers. And then I may use some of these, like, garbage embers to see if I can finish things off. They're not the same class. It's not technically appropriate to do that, but I have several of them. They're not really high value, and this is going to save me from using a much higher value Ember. Unfortunately, this does actually scale the QP cost as if I were using high level Embers. It's just the unfortunate way that leveling in this game works with regards to QP costs, but better to do things this way than to waste the Ember, because QP, I can always get more of it. And now we run into a problem. I can't ascend Nitocris because I don't have Forbidden Pages. So, like I said, we're going to have to find a farm of that. But things like that are going to stop you. But the good news is that means I now know... Whoops, not Craft Essence. I don't want to go in here. The good news is I now know Nitocris is kind of like as taken care of as she can be until I free her up. Which means I can focus my attention elsewhere. Particularly, if you look, I actually have a ton of Archer Embers. Now, you're going to want some good Archers online in your account. I can put a lot of this into Arash right now, if I so choose. It's actually not the world's worst idea, because Arash is a very, very useful farmer. Or I can choose to level up one of the Archers that I have. I'm going to put it in Arash, because I know Arash is just always a good investment, no matter what I do. But I am going to be looking to see, is there a point at which maybe, like, there's some value here. Like, I'm going to keep getting FP over time. I'm going to keep rolling out that FP. To get more Archers from that. The question will be, is that going to, like, give me an answer? Is like one of those Archers going to immediately become my go-to solution? That's what I'm going to be waiting to see. Arash, I know he's good. I don't have to worry about him. He's just always a solid choice. But he's not a single target. He's a farming unit who kills himself. He's not a challenge unit or a boss fighting unit. That's something you guys need to keep in mind, because Archers are kind of some of the key, like, sticking points at certain points in the game. You're going to encounter some really annoying ones in the 6th Singularity, and even one in the 2nd Lost Belt. That's going to really kind of put some pressure on you. So getting them worked on, probably a good idea. Let's actually go and combine my copies of Arash so that I don't lose sight of the big picture here. Make him a little bit better, make him worth. And we're going to try to ascend Arash as much as I can at the moment. Let's back out 2 of those. This is going to take me all the way to 26, so if we get a proc here, it's just going to go all the way. But it's getting me closer. It's making it a little bit more clear as to... Yeah, look at that. One of these takes me all the way halfway through 29. So using another would have been kind of overkill. The same deal here. It's only 24k experience to level up. Only giving me 3.6. That's giving me basically 100k. So, not a good idea. Probably just kind of running one of these is probably a better idea. I could try to do, like, multiple Silver Embers. At that point, I just use, like, one entire 4-star Gold Ember there. Alright, now I'm capped on a different mat. So you can see, very quickly here, now I'm already reaching a point where, like, Embers aren't going to help me as much. I am just kind of getting stuck on my Ascension requirements. And what I'm getting stuck on is not the statues. What I'm getting stuck on are the actual materials. I will get those via story, but it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to kind of get done. Same deal here. I'm going to dump all of my Lancer Embers that I've managed to acquire. Some of these I think are just through story and stuff. But it's enough to at least get Roma leveled up a little bit more. I have Rider Embers, so we can dump that into Kentucky. And then, let's see here. Caster Embers. I could choose to save them for Nitocris or use them on Waver. I think I'll sit on them for right now, because there's not a whole lot of value in adding to Waver. And then I have 3 Berserker Embers for Berserker. And this would get her up to 47. Go ahead and send it all. If it procs, it procs. It doesn't. But this is making her a little bit beefier. And with a Berserker, they're kind of glass cannons. They deal more damage to people. They also take more damage from people. So you really want to kind of get them as healthy as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be running the risk of them dying, potentially. So, okay. We have gotten that handled. Let's go run more story here. As the goal will be to complete Orleans. You can see, I got even more stuff. Basically, just tutorials from leveling. So this one is a Berserker. Extra classes like Rulers take way less damage from just about every single class, but one of those exceptions is Berserker, so it's probably not a great idea. So again, taking Marie here, probably the smarter solution. I will go ahead and throw Nitocris in just for right now. And I have a solid guess at what I'm fighting. Yeah, go for it, Jade. I don't mind. And it is indeed Lancelot. Gonna go ahead, charge Nitocris to full. And kind of just pop everything here. So he's actually charmed already. I will pop the death up, but the odds of me actually landing it, very slim. We're going to focus a little bit more on damage here. And I'm actually going to give her the Mighty Chain. Let Marie's cards here kind of get her some charge. Again, the death missed there. But we still dealt about 22k to him, and he's charmed, so he's not going to get to do anything this turn. Charm is functionally a stun. It's just one turn duration in most cases, but there can be others. Let's use that, and I'm going to abuse Waver here just due to his level. Should have the highest attack power. And he does. He gets a nice lucky crit there, but honestly, he would have killed either way. See, sometimes you just go with the cards that you know are going to work best regardless of crits, especially if you don't have good crit percentages. Hard battle? Yeah, really hard. It's almost like when you start the game out, well, you don't have to worry too much about this stuff. But admittedly, these early singularities are very, very easy. The hardest battle is going to come towards the end of this one. Alright, we advance on to the abandoned fort. I do find it funny, we're not getting any, like, actual, like, 0 AP story chapters. This is just the way the early game was. It was, the quote-unquote suddenly wyverns meme. Siege of Yggdrasil, the ultimate account locker. Yeah, they're pretty bad, if I remember correctly, until you get to, like, Okeanos. The 1 out of 3 node, I don't really have anybody effective here, so that's the unfortunate nature. I'm taking a FP unit, and basically, I guess to a degree I could rotate them into the back, because the units now are like level 18, and a lot of my units are stronger than that. So, wouldn't be the world's worst idea to run something else. Probably something I should have done in hindsight. Could have thrown Faber in here and let that man work. Did I like it better that way? I don't really particularly care either way. I don't think it's a big deal. I think all it would result in is people getting, like, story done up to a point and then sitting on it. So probably not the smartest idea. Actually going to abuse that for just a little bit of charge. I don't really have to NP here. I just am. Because I have 2 NPs already ready. Somehow she didn't kill the other one. God, level 18 Marie. Somehow you disappoint me. Marie buff wins that. I mean, this is base Marie without even her 3rd skill, so it is what it is. Okay, we're going to pop the death chance up. These are all bronze enemies. There is a decent chance that Nito does some work here. See how much she can pump out. Alright, 2 of them death procced, and the last one died to damage. Feels good, man. Yeah, that dealt about 12k to that one enemy, which is neutral. That meant she would have dealt about 36k there total if the death procs hadn't come into play. Let's play stage into the main screen. That'd be nice. Somehow Marie managed to disappoint even in Orleans. It happens. Like I said, it's my fault for taking her in. And looks like we actually have just the amount to do another FP pull. Actually, 2 more FP pulls. So let's go ahead. Let's roll it out. Let's see what we get. Alright, got something new here. It is a servant. Feels good, man. Assassin. Sanson. Sanson's kind of a weird unit. He's so close to being like really, really solid, but instead he's just kind of underwhelming. And it has a lot to do with the fact that he's anti-human trait instead of anti-man attribute. If he was anti-man attribute, he'd be a lot better. Well, actually, I think he has both. I think they're both combined in his kit. They're just... He's not very, like, good in terms of survivability or damage output either way. Oh, let me skip all this. I did get Regent, actually. Another assassin. Charlotte, yeah. Charlotte's actually the better option out of the 2 of them. But man, game's giving me a whole lot of assassins, which is kind of funny because back in the day, there were not a lot of low-level assassins, really. In fact, the only assassins were low-level assassins. That's all I can summon for now. Looks like we got Bartholomew Roberts, but I think we had gotten him before. Ooh, and you didn't see it, but I did. There is a very, very pesky one, and I actually forgot. We got a starting charge C at the end of last stream as well. But this right here is an amazing pull. If you're unfamiliar with what this is Dragon's Meridian. This is a 30% starting charge C. It is 50% when you MLB it and get all 4 copies. So it's a really, really good budget C. It only costs 5 party cost, which compared to, like, you know, 5-star Cs and stuff, it's actually really nice. So if you know you're going to be using something a lot, I recommend clicking the multi-select, turning it on, and then for a lot of people, if you set up your sorting and stuff right, you can see you've got like smart sort and things. You can get it to just sort right to the top, and then boom, it should appear kind of at the top for you every single time you come into your lists of things. And actually, we did also get the 4-star CE here. This one also really, really nice. And I've totally forgotten to use it. This could have sped us up quite a bit. Take the Meridian roll. Take the Meridian out of the roll pool? No. Dragon's Meridian is way too strong. And way too necessary. It took me... I think it was 8 months before I had an MLB of it on JP. After I started playing. I was like shocked at just how bad that was. Like how long that took. Okay, we can actually do Mozart here. It's not a huge problem. And one of the things I'm going to probably do is I'm going to slot in that Dragon Meridian, because while I'm going to get a little bit less damage out of this, I'm going to actually end up getting starting charge, which is going to let me get to an NP faster. This is an assassin though, so we're going to remove Kentoki from the party, and we're actually going to bring in John Alter Berserker and let her kind of do some work. And actually what I'll give John Alter here is I am going to give her the starting charge CE. We don't have her third skill unlocked, which is unfortunate. Her third skill is a guaranteed 20% charge. Does not have to have the skill leveled at all for that. So that combined with this 60% C would put her at 80% pretty quickly at that point. So this is actually a pretty decent lineup. Just let this roll and we'll see how this one works. So again, Nidochris does that. She's basically already at full just from that one. I'm not going to bother though, because why would I? This first wave is really easy. Gonna let Waver get some free charge here. And this is abusing overkill. So I did an entire Brave Chain into an enemy that I knew would kill, and literally his second, third, and extra attacks all got overkill off of that. So you can see he got pretty decent refund because of it. Arson Dax, thank you for the follow. We're going to go ahead and fire off Nidochris's NP here, but I admittedly will probably not have enough to NP her again on the next turn. That just may be something I have to deal with. Not too worried about it. It's more of a like use it or waste NP charge trying to like kill these guys. So I just figured let's go ahead, use it early, and we get at least have charge to get her back to 50%. And there you go. It's not going to be a huge deal. I could go ahead and pop his arts up. I could have popped it last turn too. It's just a one-turn arts up, which is one of the things I wish was better about him, but he is a 1-star support, so you don't really expect too much out of that. We do have Nidochris cards here. I'm going to actually boost them. And we're going to try to like crit/kill right here. Actually, I could have popped Mozart's arts up and it would have guaranteed it probably because of the Waver arts. But either way, it still worked. So nice simple 4-turn of an easy node. And you can see now I'm getting stuff for putting a Berserker in the back line as well. Can you clear early singularities in like an hour? Probably. The hard part is waiting on all the actual like loading that happens. And I am choosing to abuse this for some early easy FP. Hey, there you go. 2 Seeds of Yggdrasil. If only it was 3. Alright, so we're now in Theirs. We're getting close to the end of this singularity. You can see Mozart's the only one I can appropriately take at this point in time. We have the entire Knight Triangle. I am going to switch Jerker in. And we are going to let her do some work, since she should be effective against all of these units. Thing to watch out for with Jerker is she's rather squishy, and her first skill is a little bit deceiving. It gives dodge per turn. So basically, each turn she will have a one-time dodge over like 3 turns. So we're going to go ahead and pop it here early. Gives her NP gain up as well. Going to stagger the cards, since we're not going to kill here early. Like being protected with taunts and hard survival skills, you're not wrong. Hard to use my computer, yeah. Alright, so now we actually got some Jerker cards. really up to you to determine how you want to handle something like this. I'm just going to kind of like stagger here. Let her get a little bit of charge there, and Waver actually crit. Was kind of hoping he wouldn't so I can get even more charge off of her Buster card, but it's fine. So at this point, just going to go ahead, pop Nitocris's charge skill, and we're just going to fire off the NP because I am ready to do a Jerker NP should the situation arise. So you can see a lot of how I'm kind of structuring things. I usually want to, like, if I know I can't 3-turn the node, I want to card through the early node because it's easy, and then handle subsequent nodes with a Noble Phantasm if possible. And there may be 3 enemies on this wave, so I have no idea if this is going to be an easy one. There are. We're going to switch to the high health enemy. I'm going to kind of pop some of my buffs here. And let's see. The Jerker should easily kill that, so we're actually going to go, well, we're actually going to go with Nitocris here. I want to see if maybe, well, I could potentially stagger, but I don't think she's got the actual firepower to do this, so we'll just send it. This will end up taking 2 turns to clear this node, or this wave. Velton, thank you for the follow-up. Welcome. Any chance for another Good or Poster Girl banner? Any chance that is gone? I mean, there's always a chance they run it again. I don't think anything's ever permanently gone in this game. Oh, she crit. Of course she did. So maybe I could have gotten it done. Maybe, but doubtful. Show off a little bit more of the Jerker cards here. Got that finger gun. Really good damage. It was a shame I didn't get any of her cards that turn. It would have easily made it capable to card right through. Even with single targets, sometimes you can play with the cards enough to switch targets to actually clear an entire AoE wave. But now with Jerker, I should have, between her and Nitocris, 2 really, really effective units at kind of clearing content. So this makes it a little bit easier on me as a result. And I could just keep taking the story support and throwing them in the back line and not worrying too much about it. In fact, we'll go ahead and move Roma up just in case something happens here. The only thing to worry about here is the Riders, which is probably a Wyvern again. Any server you're going for 8th Annie in summer banners? I will be rolling NP5 of Ace for Anniversary and NP5 of Castoria Berserker for summer. I'm a huge Saberface fan. And of course, Wyverns immediately. So we're going to dodge, and I don't have any cards here. So basically, I'm going to death proc these, and I'm going to pray to God there aren't more Wyverns on the next wave. For this account, I don't know. It'll depend. It'll depend on what banners we kind of get popping up here. I'd have to look. I'm actually, like, because a newer player's not going to be able to, like, kind of look at the banners and anticipate. You can see them, actually. They're on fandom if you know where to look. But it can be somewhat difficult because, again, we have the NA server and the JP server. And the NA server is 2 years behind the JP server. So that can cause a little bit of confusion. There you go. And this is just going to be a Buster card through of the wave. This is the power of Triple Buster sometimes being able to do this stuff. But yeah, it's like a new player's not going to be able to, so it's like I feel like if I overly plan the roles for this account, it's not doing anybody any services at that point. Okay, I'm not going to be able to complete this one, but we at least have a Jerker card here. I'm just going to do Waver, but it's Waver into a Rider, so this is not going to go well. But yeah, this account hasn't done any spending. It hasn't even done the start dash GSSR that the game gives you, so this is basically bare minimal like capability of what an account can have. But the only thing I did is I did take Waver with my SSR selector, which definitely helps things out. I'll just stagger the cards. It's not going to matter. There you go. She easily handles it and kills. How do I the thing is hitching so much? Minimum increased by quite a bit. Yep. Gonna take him and go right through again. Probably even more wyverns, but you can see, like, having the Berserker in definitely makes this stuff easier. The BBAQ? Oh, God. Let's see. We've got low health, mid health. So I'm going to start at the end. I'm going to do a Jerker Quick card, a Waver Buster card, and a Jerker Arts card. Why? Because then Waver's going to have enough damage to handle that card. He actually would have had enough to handle the high one, but I wasn't sure. And so I played that as safe as possible. Ooh, spicy turn. Alright, let's see if Nito can death proc these. I'm actually going to pre-card here. Since we got the Jerker Buster card. God dang. Girl already doing 10k. I ain't even leveled her up that much. Oh yeah, I'd definitely probably aim for that. And now we get to see the Jerker NP again, and this will kill. So this was a nice, easy 3-turn, despite the fact that I took casters to a rider node. Sometimes you get good card RNG, sometimes you don't. Just is what it is. You play through it. And there we go. Nice and simple. It's taking its sweet time to load. Now we actually have a potential to take Sabers here if I wanted. We also don't have a story support specifically for this fight. So at this point, yeah, I run in with a Saber and we laugh at this. I'm going to take Pingon here. Take his Artoria. Run that into my front line. And just kind of laugh at this node. Ah, it's just 1 out of 1, so this is even easier. So we're just going to charge Saber here up to full. And fire off Artoria's NP, and this is just going to take this one home. Nice, easy, one-turnable node. Probably meant to be a little bit more challenging than the game thought it was. Would have been even funnier if I took someone that was anti-dragon. Given that that was Kyo and Liz. Okay. Ooh, spicy. Do I have a story support? Yes, unfortunate. Would have loved to have taken just an AoE Berserker and slobber knocked this entire node. Shouldn't be too hard though. Again, problem is going to be those probable Rider Wyverns. Unless it's Georgios that I'm fighting. He was more scary in the tower event. Okay. Same deal here. We're going to pop her NP gain / dodge skill early. We actually get 4 of a kind cards for her. Kind of wild now that I think about it. But actually going to start out with the quick card, and we're going to mighty chain this for some easy NP gain. $4.1k waiver. Come on, man. You're an SSR. Alrighty. And then what do we get this turn? This one could be a little bit spicy again. Let's actually pop the attack up. We got a good chance of just hard clearing this. We'll let Jerker take the middle one. Waver does 8k there to the early one. She easily handles the middle one. And Nidochris manages to do enough, so this is just an easy carding. Yeah, I almost feel bad. Almost. This is a send it and forget it. Set it and forget it. And she actually death proc the danger enemy there. So it's the zombie that lives and gets NP'd. That's kind of funny. Kind of overkill. Getting more QP, definitely always nice to get that. I'm not in any danger of capping out. If you're ever curious what the QP cap is, it's currently 2 billion QP on NA, and JP actually just expanded that cap to 10 billion. So in 2 years from the time of this recording, there will be 10 billion. And we got more seeds of Yggdrasil, so now at least with that, I can kind of run back over here. And we can ascend. Awaken, awaken, awaken. As Arash is now up to 30. Get a Pure Prism for that. Oh man, that's so close. I'll probably get that. Go back to Servant Enhancement and see if I have anything. That is way too much. Pull out those 3. Let it kind of go. Throw in 1, see if it procs. Doesn't. Throw in another, see if it procs. And what do we got? I don't have any lesser rarity ones, so we can throw in just 1. 32 when I need 26, that's pretty good. Not gonna mess around with doing lower level ones. That gets him to that. I don't have enough to ascend him, but the second I get another one, I can get him through 50, and that should unlock Arash's 3rd skill. A very, very valuable skill. It is his 30% charge skill. And it's really the only skill that you actually need on him most of the time. Sumanai for the backline. We're going to take Georgios just in case there's a taunt that is necessary, but honestly, I doubt it. I get the strange feeling this is just a single rider boss. Watch as suddenly Wyverns is the case. God damn it, it's Wyverns. Of course it is. I guessed wrong. You can definitely follow guides if you want. Can help you out in circumstances like this, but I'm not. I'm going in blind, because most of you guys will be blind as well. But it's fine. You can make your life just a little bit easier if you do look things up, but where it will matter is in later singularities with, shall we say, more robust enemies. Jerker's still putting in work here. You can see Waver's just basically health checking this thing. A Jerker get a bunch of free charge. There you go. As long as she's got that NP gain buff up. Remember to erase Arash much earlier than my original account. Such a good decision. He can't be your like sole archer is the biggest issue. Arash is such a good unit, but if your sole archer kills himself, you're gonna have some problems. I'm actually gonna put her card in the middle of that, just because if something lives, I don't want to have to NP unless I have to. Normally you want to put NPs in a sequence, but every once in a blue moon, I'll just put a card in between if I like think there's a good shot. Now this did not work out for me, so we're definitely NPing here. Man, she did not death proc anything there. For Jalter is competitive to Morgan. And Morgan is AoE. But, I mean, in terms of, like, capabilities, generally we compare single targets with single targets, AoEs with AoEs. Usually your welfares, they're almost all good. There's a handful of them that I don't think are really worth the investment, especially for an early account, but Jerker is one of the best, especially in the ones that are available to NA at the current moment. There will be ones that are available later that will be kind of even better, but a little bit, that's kind of in the eye of the beholder, and Jerker, as far as Berserkers goes, is really, really solid. Getting free statues here. Complete the first singularity, and I have 13 days left to do it. We could definitely do it in that time, because I think we basically, when we complete Theirs, we unlock this, and I think we just go right up here and there, and like this is the end. So we are going to end it here for tonight, though. We did not get done with Orleans, but we will continue this, and again, I hope you guys enjoyed. We explained gacha mechanics to you at least a little bit. We talked about leveling and ascending, kind of what I look for in things like that. We rolled a couple of new units, and let me think. Is there anything else? I did talk a little bit about pins and skills and all of that, but again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys for the next one. All right. I keep doing it that way, just, you know, because I'm sure this will get turned into a video at some point. Who do we have on? Yeah, I see a Mr. Fino on tonight. He's doing some variety. I'll send you guys over his way. Again, hope you guys enjoyed. I will be back tomorrow. There was definitely something we were going to do tomorrow, but I don't remember what it is. So stay tuned. My brain is just shot at this point. I need to go get some sleep. So, again, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for all the support as always. Don't forget, join the Discord. We got the new tag over there. And feel free to subscribe and, you know, follow on any of the channels that I'm streaming on. All of that's always free. Doesn't hurt you. Go ahead and click the button, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Go give Mr. Fino my love, and good night.